I came in from feeding the horses and the dogs, and it was hot. It's hot outside.
Oh, Steph, before we start, what's our main topic?
Start.
Oh, we're starting.
I think it's going live now.
All right. Well, that's cool too.
I came in from feeding the horses and the dogs, and it was hot. It's hot.
Anybody want to make sure we're on? I can grab my phone real quick and make sure.
Okay,
wherever
we're live,
that is,
and we can hear everyone.
Yay! We're getting better at this.
I am right on time.
I said we. It's a marital we though at this point, just like with my husband.
Oh, whatever.
By we,
I mean
Stephanie's gotten better.
I cannot do this without you. Let me tell you. Hi, Letitia, and hi, Candace. But
well, I'm hearing a second.
You need to mute the YouTube.
What?
Mute your YouTube.
I didn't think I was on YouTube.
It's probably in some browser somewhere. It might be one of us.
I exited out of everything. How's that? Yeah.
We are on, Carolyn says. Alrighty. Good deal.
So, Steph, you got to clarify where you are. We see your beautiful quilts behind you. I mean, the curtains again.
I am in my parents' lake house in Wisconsin. It was called a cabin because it used to be essentially a double wide on concrete blocks. And then that my extended family purchased when I was a baby. And we would spend many a summer up here all together. And then as people got older, not everyone was up here anymore. And some people had, like my aunt and uncle, built their own house in Door County. And so my parents bought everybody out of their shares and basically built their dream home. So I'm not allowed to call it a cabin anymore. I get in trouble if I call it a cabin. So it is a lake house.
What is it?
It is
a lake house. Is it a lake estate?
It is a gorgeous lake house. And I'm probably not allowed to show it because my dad is private person, and I'm never allowed to show him on my videos. I hear about it if he accidentally makes a brief appearance. So,
sorry, Dad.
Yes, and actually, he said to my mom after I put my headphones on, he's like, "Let me get out of here before the stitch and bit starts." I'm like, "We don't bitch. We lift each other up."
Okay. I really like that title.
Yes. So we have Thomas Guar entering the waiting room, and Tomas. It's not with an H. So probably Tomas. We do not know you yet. So you have to answer a quilting question over on the YouTube comments so that we know you are in fact a quilter before we let you on the Zoom. Let's see.
What is our favorite kind of quilting goose?
Yes. Well, some people love it and some people hate it, but it is a quilting goose.
It's a love-hate relationship, but what's the quilting goose called?
Yes. What is that called? So answer that over on YouTube. And if you answer correctly, then you will receive admittance to the Zoom.
And I don't even know what the answer to that is.
Oh, you do.
I do.
Chantel is currently making them.
A lot of them.
Yes.
Actually, I've made them now. They're just working their way through my project.
You can make them 4 at a time with no waste, or you can do a stitch and flip.
You can also make them 4 at a time with waste, which is what I do because I'm far too messy to be able to do them without waste.
I like the Deb Tucker way. I like using hers.
Oh, I have a break-in. Hey, no, go away. Is that for me? Yeah.
Oh, looks like dinner. And the dog said it's for him. For her.
Are you sure these are for me? Thanks, buddy. But the dogs are going to want them. Can you go put them in the fridge? Yeah, Burger King. All right, I love you. That was a good excuse to come down here.
All right. No answer, Tomas? All right, we're going to remove you for now.
Might have got in there by mistake, huh?
Oh, well, sometimes we get some interesting folks on here. But
that's just part of it.
It is.
You can always hang out with us on the YouTube. On the YouTube, I sound like an old person. The YouTube, the YouTube.
That's what Ray calls it, the YouTube.
The YouTube.
Ray from
Pretty
Ray
much
John
everybody
from
I know
RG
calls it the
Travels.
YouTube.
The
Yes,
YouTube. Miss those
funny.
boys.
They are hilarious. They were in Iceland. Let's
Should
see.
probably
We've
tell
got
everybody who they are.
Tammy
They
from
are the
Plano,
crew.
Texas.
They're the cruise organizers
They
that
are.
we worked with,
So
and they are a ton of fun. You
they
go on
are
a
very
cruise,
fun.
you get to hang out with them too.
Yes, they're a blast.
So how old is YouTube?
Oh,
We have
I
also
feel like
have
YouTube came out after, I don't know,
we
probably
have Carol
2005.
Reeve from Wyoming. I think it was actually around 2005. I think it came out while we were in college, but it was
It
like
did.
not like it took a while to become what it is today.
Yeah, I have
Yep.
I have no idea. Like it seems like it's been on forever, but I knew it hadn't, right? Like it
So have you guys ever gone back in your Amazon to see? It says like, oh, you've been a member since this long, and like the first couple things I ordered are all books, and then it slowly becomes this pile of randomness as the time goes on, and then all of a sudden it's like you get all your toiletries and all your household goods and every little thing that you could ever imagine.
Whitney C says YouTube is 19 years old. So it's almost old enough
19,
to drink
Yes,
legally.
2005 then.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Good.
trivia queen.
YouTube is an adult.
Welcome
Barely.
to the adulthood, but it can't drink. Well, it does drink, but it shouldn't. Legally.
Oh my gosh. So I was talking, I don't remember what it was. We were taking a walk and there's kind of a swampy area by the road that goes around the lake. And we were looking for turtles. And my daughter was joking about like going in the thing. And then my dad was like, "Oh, your mom wants to fish you out." And I was like, "I have been in the slough once and almost a
Yep.
second time, and that is enough for me." And my mom was like, "When did you go on the slough?" And I'm like, "Pledging." And
I fell in.
she just like
No.
rolled her eyes at me. And then I told the story of why I went in the first place. And then the second time that I almost went in was because a pledge like the year after me went in and couldn't swim. The slough, by the way, is at Augustana College. It is a giant pond. It looks beautiful. It is
Yeah.
not fun to be inside of.
I just
It's-
knew it was water.
It's
It's
very,
meant
it's
for
very,
viewing,
yeah.
not for
If you're
swimming.
if you're a turtle,
It's a great
awesome.
place to be.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. If you are a person, you are not meant to be in that place. So, Jan 2020 wants to know what brand of sewing machine you have, Donna.
Me, this one tonight that I'm using, it's a Husqvarna Viking. It's a Topaz 30. I put my Epic 2 in the shop just for the annual maintenance. So this
By
is
the
what I'm
way,
using.
we have a lot of people all over the place right now. We have people from Wyoming,
That's awesome.
Washington,
Welcome to
a
our
couple
chaos.
Texas, Idaho, Oklahoma, Utah, and Tennessee. So we got a lot of folks on today. I may have done the tag all followers on Facebook today, which I
Hey,
personally
cool.
hate being tagged on crap like that, but I figured it would be effective.
You know
I
what
was
though?
like,
Welcome, guys. This is where
welcome.
we hang out. It's very informal.
We're just chilling.
We do. We sit, we chill, we sew. So
Yes, pretty much. So Chantel
Talk
and
about
I,
random things.
Chantel and I have known each other since college. We pledged together, so we were in the slough together. And
I don't think I went in the slough, but
you didn't go on the slough?
you know
I was
what
in the
though?
slough.
I had that
You're gonna have to
knee
go back.
problem.
Got to go back and get initiated then, Chantel.
You know what though? I might have been in the slough and just don't have that memory.
I mean, that's also possible. I don't remember.
That was not a core memory, or at least it was lost in the memory dump. So
There was a fair amount of alcohol served that evening as
there's
well.
a lot of lost
But-
in the memory dump.
Round Lake Beach,
there was
Illinois.
that-
I'm from
Hey!
Zion originally,
My
Dawn, so
husband's
I'm
from
up near
Grave
you.
Lake,
I know.
so
We're all from the
I know
same
Round
area.
Lake Beach a little bit.
But I almost ended up a second time because a year or two after we pledged Chantel, there was a girl who went in who didn't know how to swim. And it became quite apparent that she didn't know how to swim. And so I was like stripping my clothes off and running towards the slough edge. And
Oh my.
thankfully, like half of the pledge class that year was on swim team and they brought her in. But so
We
I didn't
did
have to
have a
go in
lot
a
of
second time.
swimmers.
But
Yeah.
yes, but I was a trained lifeguard and still rather fit at the time. And so I was like stripping down and going in. And
We were all so fit, man.
it was not needed. So I was glad
Oh,
that it was not needed and that she was fine. But I would have gone
absolutely.
back in that slough. And I would have gone in and rescued my daughter too if she would have ended up in the swampy area. But these are best
Yuck.
things that are best avoided. But then my daughter's like, what do you do when you pledge a sorority? I'm like, stupid things for about 6
Well.
weeks. And then you get to be a member. She's like, what kind of stupid things? And then I'm like racking my brain. What can I tell her that I did?
We do games and stuff like that where we
Yeah.
they're different every night.
I told her that I sing I'm a little
Crickets?
teapot in the middle of the night in Lincoln Park. And I left out some key details that made
There
that,
are some details that were left, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
but that's okay.
Oh my gosh.
I do think they've cleaned it up quite a bit since then. That's my
I don't think
impression.
they're allowed to do it like we did it.
No, I don't think so.
And the
I
girls
think,
before us had to do exercise and things like that. Thank God they weren't making us exercise.
well, the reason
I wouldn't
why,
have been in a sorority. Nobody can make me exercise.
because
This body comes naturally.
a pledge had a heart condition and didn't disclose it, and there were big problems from that. So that's
Yeah.
why that ended.
College is fun
It is fun. But anyway,
if you go to the right college.
but we do talk about quilting. It's not just Stephanie and Chantel and
Well,
the
we
dumb
do
things we
reminisce a
did
lot.
together. We do have many, many tangents.
At a
But mostly,
certain point, we go over whatever it is that we're working on. And actually, I
Yes.
have a major question for people today. I have a scrap problem. Now, I know what Stephanie's reply is to the scrap problem.
give it
them
to people
a
who like
friend.
them. Yes.
But I want to use my scraps, but I don't know how to organize them in a manner that's going to make sense with my crazy brain.
Okay, so I have listened to Bonnie Hunter talk about this.
yeah.
So, but if anybody else has suggestions for Chantel first, I will wait to
Oh
divulge my
my
Bonnie
gosh.
Hunter knowledge.
Because, like, what do you consider a scrap? For me, it's like if I cut into a fat quarter and I can't fold the fat quarter back up, that's basically become scrap in some manner. So,
See, I
what
wouldn't
do I do?
do that so much. It depends. Like if I'm fussy cutting stuff and I only have like, a little bit out of it, like I'm okay with that. But like my neighbor will save down to 1 inch that she will keep.
I do. I save that small because I do collage. And so even the small bits, like
That's
what
true.
I'm doing right now, I can use for collage.
See, my problem is
And how do you store
organize
them?
it in a manner? Because, like, yeah, I can make a hexie out of just about anything, and you know I will. However, if you add it all together, I have God knows how many yards, more than a bolt.
So
of
are you
fabric.
saying that you wanting to advice on how
I
to
wanna-
store your
I
scraps
want
or how
to
to use them?
organize it, store it, and be able to use it more functionally, and then actually use it up. Because the way it is right now, I couldn't tell you what's in the bottom of these bins of scraps, even though they're clear. They're chucked so full. And then I don't even know what to make out of them. It's like, what do I do? And it has to be something kind of functional and organized in a way that makes sense with my brain, which is like
Lori,
down to a certain size or
Yeah.
made into something almost immediately.
Lori,
I haven't did it yet, but Lori Holt does where
Yeah.
she cuts hers into like 2-inch squares and 3-inch squares. And, she has like a set, like 4 or 5 different set sizes that she cuts all her scraps in, and she puts them in that container. And then when it gets filled up, she uses those for a project. So she'll have, a variety of the 2-inch squares or a variety of the 3-inch squares or,
That's
You
kind
know-
of what I need.
or
I
she,
think.
or
So-
she will take those and use them for leader enders. So she sews on and off you know,
I'm not a
whatever.
leader ender person. I mean, I would have enough leader enders for,
Right.
the
I'm
lead
not a
and the
leader
end of
end
my
ender
of
life.
time.
either. I use leader enders, but I don't use them to like for a block to put to sew 2 pieces together and put in a quilt later. My leader and enders, they are like covered in fur. Like they look like little
They're
caterpillars.
spiders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it depends on what machine I'm using, but yeah, I have, that's the way I am too. I use like one piece and I just use it over and over and I sew off of it and then I sew off of it.
Exactly. That's
But I
what I
also
do.
have a little, the little box. It's like like Velveeta cheese comes in.
yeah.
Mhm.
I put 2.5-inch squares in that, and I'll set them beside my machine if I'm wanting to, use that kind. And then I
Oh.
sew those together, and then you can make 9 patches out of them, or you can
I
keep
should
making.
like get my
Just
scraps.
make
They are wild.
what do you call it? That's when they're that little. It's not scrap. Anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's like a bits and pieces, but yeah, it's just very scrappy.
String.
If I can fold it, it basically, if it's, let's say, a fat 1/8 or more, if I can fold it and it fits with the rest of my fabric, I fold it and I fit it with the rest of my fabric. Really, my scraps are, going to be
This is
smaller
hardly
than
a scrap.
probably a fat 1/8.
I would
This
not
is
call
me
that a
being
scrap.
lazy.
I wouldn't call that a scrap.
That
I would
was
refold
lazy.
it.
That was me throwing that into the scrap bin.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that a scrap either. I would
This is
refold.
also lazy. Okay.
I would refold that.
So we
That
got
Liberty.
some, we have some stuff
Arms.
on YouTube. We have a comment of to cut the scraps into squares or strips in the same size and then get rid of the really small stuff. And they're also, Carolyn was talking about crumb quilting. And yeah, that's
Crumb
a real big
quilting
thing
and
right
crumb.
now.
That's what I was thinking. That was a term I was looking for, crumb. But also you can also, like, if you're going to have like 2.5-inch ones or whatever, and like have leftover strips and things, or cut them into 2.5-inch strips, you can make log cabin blocks with those, like a scrappy log cabin, and those are fun. And just
See, I only make
I have a few
log
pieces that are like
cabin.
this. I have a lot of strings.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
some of these I've kept because they're old fabric and they're old salvages, which
Yeah.
have
Well,
a
I have
different
separate
purpose to me.
box.
But like this, what do
Yeah.
you do with this?
So this is
Big
what
enough for
That
something.
goes in colors. By color, I sort.
Yeah. That's
So-
what I'm with Donna. Even though I want to do it the way that Lori Holt does it in the sizes, I aspire to do it that way one day. And sometimes I will go ahead if something's close and think, oh, let me just cut this down to a usable shape or size or whatever, so I can get rid of the unattractive bits of the fabric. I mostly do by size, and I just actually bought bins last week. Those flat, a lot of people use them for their project bins. They're flat. They're like, they fit a perfect 12 by 12.
I have one with me.
Page
Let me
one.
grab it.
Mine's right there in the other room. But I had at Sam's right now, they have where you can get 2 of them. I might as well just grab it and show
Like
you.
this?
Yeah, exactly. That you get 2 of those, plus they come with these little ones like
Oh,
this.
that's cute.
So you get 2 little ones, and you get 2 of the, I think the 13 by 14 was the inch. So they fit a 12-inch quilt block. Perfect.
Yeah.
So you get 4 things for $17 at Sam's right now, Sam's Club.
Yeah.
So I
Oh.
had Matt go over and pick me up like 6 sets, and I'm gonna have him go get some more. But I'm gonna use those because I can put my strips in them. And when I do my strips, I fold them like a U and put them on their side. And then they just like line up like file cards. And so I've already filled up 3 of them as I'm going through my scraps and sorting into color this last week. And I really like that. So it's a new system, but it's interesting you brought that up, Chantel, because
I feel like we've been sewing so much, guys, that this has become my new issue.
Well, you can
Not
also
that I,
just start sewing those together and sewing them together and then cut them into squares.
See,
You know what
that gives me anxiety because as chaotic as I am in conversation, what if I do? I mean, some of these scraps are Tula. Jesus, what are you gonna? What if I screw them up?
So,
and I
we've
also
got
don't
some
like
stuff.
cutting small stuff.
Yeah, what do you
because
got?
I might
We've
use it
got
for
some stuff
everything.
on YouTube. And then I have something I've been doing with flannel and
Ooh,
also some tips from Bonnie Hunter from when I attended her lecture
perfect.
many years ago. We've got Dawn on YouTube who says they have two towers of stacking drawers. The majority of the bottom drawers are approximately quarter yard pieces. So give or take.
That's a good
Like
idea.
you're being lazy. It's about, putting away properly. And then she has drawers labeled handful and tidbits. So that way you can distinguish between bigger scrap sizes and smaller scrap sizes.
That's kind of
And
brilliant. That's my level of organization right there. Like tidbits and handfuls. That's my
and
kind of measuring.
we have Whitney C is making a Bilbo coat. I think I know which Whitney this is. Whitney, are you the one that we used to work together in the marketing days? And so I'm cutting the scraps into 2, 4, and 6-inch pieces and keeping them clipped together. And Dawn says she has a stack of large drawers for what she calls strips and strings. So she feels like she's a scrap hoarder. So what I've been doing with my flannel pajama pants is because I made pajama pants, there's a lot of stuff left over. So what I've done is I've cut it into pieces that will make an 8.5-inch block. So 2.5-inch, 4.5-inch, 6.5-inch, and then 8.5-inch. And that way I can assemble them in any kind of mix and way to make that kind of be scrappy someday, because I kind of have this like romantic idea of someday having a flannel quilt of all the flannel pajama pants I've made my kids for winter, even though I still have yet to actually finish the flannel pajama pants that I even started back in February. But that's not here or there. I do know someone named Kay L. Yes, I do. I worked with her at the Quad City Times.
I do applique, so I don't want to take like bigger pieces.
It's too small.
I don't want to take bigger pieces and cut them down to something because I might need them for something bigger
Might
later.
need for something bigger.
I don't
want
other thing worry.
And I think this is for if you have like you've got strips left, like someone has very
somebody's
like
trying
me,
to get in.
When I put together a quilt pattern and there's yardage, I always round up to the quarter yard after that. And then sometimes there's like 2.5 inches left or 2 inches or something left out of a fat quarter with the patterns that I do. So we're not talking about a lot of fabric. We're talking about a little bit of fabric. So what Bonnie Hunter does, just like what they were saying, is she picks up a couple of sizes that she uses pretty regularly. And so she'll cut them to those sizes. And if it's a strip, she'll get a strip. If it's a square and that's all she can get, she squares it out to be a square. And then she organizes it by size and color. So that way, if you know you need a bunch of pink, you can go to your pink 2.5-inch strip section and you're good to go. So that's a way
what
that
I would
does.
aspire to. Would be have it that organized. But I think maybe I'm more the handful and the tidbit and the strip and the string person.
Yeah.
Although I want to have the perfect like 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, 8.5 by color. I just don't think I could manage that in my reality.
I also took a page from your book, Chantel, and I think I'm going to, when I finish a project, like fussy cut out some stuff for what do you call it? Hexies, and just do like the first round of hexies only. And then someday I can have like a record of the fabrics I used in a quilt. I had this idea.
I do make a lot of hexies.
I had this idea really long time ago, but it was before I had kind of developed my fabric sense and style and knew about modern fabric. And so it was all very disjointed and I didn't really like that idea. But now I feel like I'm more refined and things sort of tell more of a story. And so I'm more likely to be able to make that work.
And I think just start small with something you think will work and just take it a step at a time. Because when you're looking at that whole overall picture, is like overwhelming. So just start with something like in organizing and
Yeah.
just, you know,
Yeah.
don't try and do something with all your scraps right now because that seems like it
Oh,
overwhelms.
see, I love a good project where I get way in over my head and then I sink and drown. That's the problem, actually.
That is a problem.
I'm like, oh yeah, I have this grandiose idea. I'm going to do all of that thing and more. It's going to be so amazing. And then I just kind of like sink and fizzle. And then it's like, I had this really good idea, but it turned into, you know, this Pinterest fail type moment. And then I
So-
laugh at myself and throw it away.
Well,
And
what you could
What
do, Chantel, is you could start out with sorting it by color. Okay, sorting your scraps by
I
color.
think by color is my love language anyways.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
clearly,
And-
as you
so-
see behind me.
Right. So start out by sorting it by color and then see where that takes you. Maybe once you have it by color, you'll be happy enough because you do cut out a lot of hexes. You and I both do. And so, you know, taking the scraps down to a specific size would maybe hurt us later on. We go, oh, gee,
That's what I wonder.
I wish I had this for my, you know, hexie project. So
I make so many weird shapes
Right.
that I'm like afraid to cut off the weird ends.
Yeah.
And if I use the fabric, I loved the fabric because I'm at the point where and actually I wanted to bring this up too. I'm at the point where I'm like starting to purge some of my stash. Not by using it, but by donating it or by making it into quilts for donation. And some of the fabric that spoke to me before doesn't speak to me anymore. Either that or you can get a friend like Gwendolyn and just share all your Halloween fabric with her.
all right. We got the stack going on, don't we?
I
Making a
left
whole
a
bunch of
chunk.
coffins.
I left a chunk of Halloween fabric with Chantel, by the way, when I saw
You
her last
did.
weekend.
And so you're gonna get quite a few from that chunk because there's no way I could use all of that. So you're getting like a good portion of that. Gwendolyn and I are sharing in a swap of
Coffin, Halloween
Coffins.
hexes.
yeah, for English paper piecing. So all the hand sewing stuff. Although I swear one day I'm gonna figure out how to do this by machine, but watch me not figure that out. It can be done somehow, but
Well, if you do the AccuQuilt ones, you can do by machine.
I have an AccuQuilt and I do have the hexies and things like that, but there's something about the actual sewing of them by hand. I mean, I can sew them pretty quickly at this point.
Yeah,
So-
It is. It's kind of soothing, right?
Yeah, well, I can do it upstairs. I don't have to think very hard for me. My problem is that I stop paying attention and I break my thread because I'm sewing way too hard. I'm like got all the anger on the thread.
Don't do that.
I got a lot of
That's no good.
rage.
You know,
Some people go to
when-
boxing, just
when the
hand sew.
children want you 24/7, it's a lot. It
Yeah,
can be
my
a lot.
day job of the children is clearly
It can definitely be a
I
lot.
just know there's a
That's
lot-
actually what I'm doing right now. I'm working on Tula Nova.
Oh, what part are you on?
We're just working on stars at the moment. And I finished the
I was
last
too.
of these things.
Nice.
They're done. They're going to
Yes.
my sister. My
I officially helped.
Part
I
in
made
this
one.
is done.
I didn't see them, Stephanie. What were you showing?
So my sister and we filmed a video for this. But it is two identical fabrics sewn and then turned out, and then we top stitch over it. You can maybe kind of see.
Very
And
cute.
then I took 5-inch pearl cotton and did a blanket stitch around all of it. And then
Uh-huh.
my sister is taking sport weight Lori Holt chunky thread, which is yarn.
Yeah.
And she's going around it with a single row of crochet, and I think it's either a half double or a double around that. And then she's connecting it all together. So she is caught up to the last batch I gave her. So this is going home with my parents.
So it gets all put together into one project. It's a blanket.
It will be. It'll
Yeah.
be a combination of sewing and crochet. And I think I have about 60 hours of hand sewing in the project.
Wow.
And then my sister has at least equal that in crochet going around the squares, and then she's got to attach everything into a border. So we have
It
a
took
lot
some
happening.
time.
A lot of time. It takes me like
did
25
one of them.
minutes to
Yeah.
go
Well, that's
around
pretty
one.
cool though. It's pretty cool though because it's a combined project. Yeah, I like
It
that.
is, but I'm glad to be done with my part. But yeah, I'm back on Tula Nova because trust me, I have plenty to do. My book deadline is very soon. But I didn't want to bring all the stuff with me to my parents' place. So I just brought my Tula Nova to work on once I finish. So do my stars today. This is the last of my purple stars. Then I get to move to teal.
How many more projects do you have for your?
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to talk about that.
Let's talk about the Tula Nova.
I did buy fabric for a project today though. And you guys will like it because it's Halloween. So this is supposed to be like panels projects through the seasons. And I annoyed the people. They're at the quilt shop today. So it's called Skeins and Bolts. And when we cut panels at Quilt Addicts Anonymous, when we sold fabric, we would always unfold the entire panel and make sure that we cut like straight on there. And she's about to just like cut across this thing. And I was like, hey, would you mind like cutting that like one at a time? And then she thought I meant like the repeat one at a time. And I was like, no. And I just like unfolded the whole thing and I showed her what I wanted. And she's like, well, I've cut them like this before, but I'll do it for you this way. I'm like, yeah, I would really like that. That'd be great. And and then someone in the quilt shop goes, wait, are you on YouTube? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they found out that I'm somebody in the quilting world, but that didn't improve her attitude at all.
No, probably not.
That's okay. I was being difficult and my daughter was running around the shop pointing out.
It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Because I have a panel where I have no cheeks on a skeleton because they cut it so off kilter. And so by the time I straightened that thing, I have no seam allowances for working with that. That panel is worthless to me other than practice.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But
really pissed about it. Didn't notice it until like months later because they didn't open it up and like analyze it.
So quilt shops out there, please, if you have a panel, unfold it and cut it. Nothing's ever like put on the roll straight. It gets weird.
Like it's supposed to be,
No, it just changes. But anyway, so this is what I'm dealing with. This is not actually a panel, but I'm going to use it like a panel. Let me push this back a little bit here. So it is Alice in Wonderland themed.
Oh, I love that.
So
I've seen that.
Like this is the repeat here and here, but I'm going to use it as a panel because I needed to find one that was horizontal and I was having a really hard time finding it. And I do have a Halloween panel from Free Spirit that's horizontal, but it would work better as a treat bag. And this one's a little too adult to be like a treat bag. So I'm going to use that. And then I got just some fat quarters because y'all know I can make magic with fat quarters.
Yes, you can.
So we've got some fun orange ones that are all like themed and some gray and some black. So I just got equal amounts of each. I have no idea what I'm doing with it yet, but I'm not worried. That'll come to me. And then I got this for binding. And I'm going to use binding on, I think.
That's cute for binding.
So that'll be fun. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have gotten a 1/4 yard of a black. I'll have to go back tomorrow.
Oh, darn.
Black. I know.
They'll
I just
love you
need like a
tomorrow.
1/4 yard. Yeah, I know, right? Maybe they'll look me up in between and realize that,
no. She might know what she's talking about. She's making a book on panels.
She might know a thing or two about a thing or two. But anyway, I don't ever like to assume that anybody knows who the hell I am. But
exactly, but
but I do get recognized at most sewing places I walk into, including Liberty of London. So
That was crazy.
that was wild. She knew me by my voice. I hear Stephanie, and I'm thinking this must be someone from the cruise. And then I look at her and I'm like, you are not from the cruise.
I don't know you.
But yeah, I
Yeah, and
definitely
that's
need.
kind of crazy too, right? Because you don't know people sometimes because you don't see everyone, right?
No,
Just
no,
got- you
definitely
just
not.
see a name or whatever, and then they know you, and it's like, yeah,
Or like I worked at Joanne Fabrics. I mean, technically, I'm still on staff. Like I have to fill out an employee thing. But anyway, but I worked there for like a while I was trying to figure out what was next. And every day, like I would have to wear my glasses and my hair up. It was like my Clark Kent disguise. Otherwise, 1 to 3 people would know who I was and they would want to talk. And then it would be an awkward conversation because I'd have to explain all the things that happened with the business. And I, in most cases, had no idea who these people were. And I'm
They
just
know
like,
all about you.
they do. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, if you would have only ordered from me instead of here, maybe I wouldn't be cutting fabric at Joanne Fabrics. But you have to smile and oh well.
yeah.
But
It's okay.
So
it's
you're
okay.
famous, and that's got to be I mean, to
I
me,
am
that would be like a
slightly
big
famous
boost.
in small circles.
Well, it's still a boost,
In the
right?
quilting
It is.
circle, yeah, you got it. You got it done.
Yeah. And they're like, so you have a blog? And I was like,
Yeah.
kinda. So just trying to not brag about it. But
To be
But
fair,
they
I knew
knew
you before. I had no idea you were like
this is true.
quilt famous.
Chantel was the one who messaged me when my second book came out and was like, holy crap, you're #1 on Amazon. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was my book was #1 on the quilts and quilting category. And I was like, oh my God, what's
See, I
going
was
on
a
here?
fan all the way back then. Always been a
But,
fan.
but yeah,
She's your #1 fan.
she is.
Yeah.
She describes herself as that. But no,
I
my
am her
mom was
#1 fan.
in and she bought herself a charm pack to make a table runner.
I love a charm
And
pack.
yeah, I know. So well she's comfortable with that. Because I'm the one teaching her to sew. She didn't pass that on to me. I figured it out somehow. Or
Somehow.
YouTube was the way
I can
it
say
was.
you figured it out, but I do
Yes.
have beef with you about the number of flying geese in this quilt.
It is a lot. Like I said, I designed that during the pandemic when everybody had more time.
You were
So
really feeling,
I apologize.
yeah, it's beautiful though. I mean, it's a beautiful quilt, but I have to admit, I am geesed out and
You're over it.
I'm so close. This is how many I have left to sew up with my flying geese. And then,
But then you have to trim them all.
no, I already
Don't do
trimmed
that all
all
in
my
one go.
geese.
Oh, good.
Are
Yeah,
you making
that's-
a
that's
second
very
one,
good.
or is that the same one from the cruise?
This is a
No,
different
this is a
quilt, of
different
course.
pattern.
Oh, okay.
This is flying lanterns, which is
Floating lanterns.
floating. Yes.
So my,
I was thinking
so my,
flying geese.
so my friend sent me this picture. She's talking
Oh my
about
gosh.
all the flying geese in it.
That's a lot of
Okay,
flying
that's insane.
But
I
it's
mean,
very
wonderful,
pretty.
but
Beautiful.
She's almost done with hers. This was just a picture of the pattern, but she's almost done with hers. But yeah, if you don't like flying geese, you better find something else.
it's not that I don't like them. I just don't like 168 of them.
Right. My first,
you're the
my-
one who keeps mentioning the number.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
because I just lived it for like the last 2 days. I'm trying to do this as a like Stephanie deadline type thing and feel how you must have felt.
You're trying to do it in a week. But
Well, yeah,
that
I
week,
mean, I started it on Wednesday.
that week also included thinking of the pattern, designing and writing the pattern, filming the tutorial, quilting it,
Yeah,
and photographing it.
so far I wouldn't have managed, but
Yeah.
you know, too many swearing at geese.
That is a problem sometimes.
That's okay. That's why you did a great job, and I'm over here complaining about my geese.
and
It's all good.
what's the name of that one?
Floating lanterns, and it is really pretty, and it has one of my favorite fabric designers. She hasn't designed a lot, but she is at Wyndham, Tamara Kate.
Yeah. That was the first one I did with Tamara Kate.
Yeah.
fabrics.
And I bought a whole bunch of her other fabric, and then did some of the other quilt I just finished in her fabric too. It's very whimsical and saturated in color, but still like kind of bright. It's fun. It's very
is
like
fun.
botanical.
Well,
and you
she
only
grew up.
started it on Wednesday?
Yeah.
So Tamara Kate, I actually did an interview with her. You can find it way back on the YouTube archives. But and yes, Jan, it was insane that I did that. And I'm about to do it again because I have more projects than I have weeks until my book deadline. So we're not going to talk about that exactly right now. But a lot of those projects are not quilts. A fair number are, but most of them are like, at least half are like, you know, farmer's market grocery sack. Halloween
go.
tree bag, placement and table runner set. Like those I can do in a day. But oh guys,
We
I
call
did a
that
big thing this week.
oh
I filmed a video.
What's the name of it again?
what?
Wait. It's called Floating Lanterns, and Stephanie filmed a video.
It's called Floating Lanterns, and I actually filmed a new video tutorial this week.
Yay!
So that's coming. I gotta edit it.
But
What
is
did you do
about?
it on?
I see it now.
It is the Vera Bradley dupe that I was telling you guys about. Yep,
Oh,
that's
good.
it.
Good quilt. Look at it.
Yeah.
Very
It's so
busy.
pretty, isn't it? I
Yes,
couldn't
it
help
is fun.
myself, but I have to make it. But
So
just gonna
Tamara
swear about
Kate,
it.
back to her. She grew
Mhm.
up in, I don't want to say the West Indies. That wasn't it.
Like Indonesia or Costa Rica, or I don't
No, it was,
remember. I just read her bio myself on Window.
yeah, it was somewhere. I want to say Trinidad, Tobago. That might not be it, but that general region. So she's like started out in Canada and then went there for many of her childhood years, and then now is back in Canada. But she is just really influenced by color and florals because that was like what she was surrounded in as a child. And
Yeah.
so that's probably why you love her, Chantel,
Carib-
is because she
the
loves
Caribbean.
color. Yeah.
She was in the Caribbean.
Yes, that is a general way of putting it because I can't remember
That's what
exactly.
it says on her thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago. I don't remember the details exactly, but yeah, she's very gifted. She actually became a designer by just doing spoonflower challenges because she was,
Oh.
I think, a graphic designer and illustrator, but she was just, messing around, and then eventually it became more serious. And she got picked up as an actual fabric designer, but she is a quilter too. That is the difference, I think, between a lot of lines that just come from someone who is a gifted designer but not a quilter versus someone who is also a quilter. Because
I understand
think
scale
about
and value.
Yeah, value, and that you don't always need a million light fabrics, that sometimes makes it harder. Now, I will say that, but then sometimes, the fabric manufacturers have different ideas too, because of the way that they save money printing fabric when they're doing embroidery screen print. But
I will say her more saturated fabrics and her dark fabrics really make her stand apart, though, because those are the ones that I'm really drawn to because they have
have color too, even the darker ones.
I mean, like here it's not so close up, but you can see how her darks are dark, but she has pops of light among it, or it's just really cool stuff. Really a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah, she's very gifted, for sure. What is everyone else working on?
Well, whoop, go ahead. I'm working on my collage. You guys want to see my progress this week?
Yeah, let's see.
Da, da, da.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
That's
pretty.
gorgeous.
So I'm working on that flower right here, but this flower is finished with that leaf, and then this leaf is finished. So
that's so pretty.
Good.
I'm pretty proud of it.
You should be. That was
is
beautiful.
Absolutely stunning.
Thank you. Yeah,
And you thought you were going to finish one thing this year.
I know, right? I'm on my path to finish 3 things, right?
Yay!
Maybe even by the end of the summer. Maybe even by the time my grandbaby arrives in August.
In August.
Look at this. This is a good thing for us to be
I'm telling
taking
you.
2.5 hours to
Here's
ourselves.
Y'all keep me accountable. That's what it is.
Here's the quilt that I was working on, I don't know, the other night.
Oh, that looks cool.
Kind of hard to see. It had in the pattern, it had like a, whatever. It was a solid print.
Can you tip it down a little bit more? Tip down the camera.
That's beautiful. I love the colors.
I'm trying to get it to where it shows like
there.
The quilt. It's laid on the long arm.
But, wow.
Anyway, it had like one print for the border, and I didn't like that, so I took all the colors out of the quilt and just made 6.5-inch squares around the thing of it. But anyway, yeah. Great. So I was glad to get that done. I quilted that last night, so I need to square it up still and bind it, and then I'll take it and turn it in. It's going to get judged at our quilt guild. They did like an ugly fabric.
I don't see any ugly fabric in that.
No.
Well, what it is, here's the actual. Where's that fabric at?
I showed you my ugly fabric. Ew. I get some of the tarantula fabric, some of Gwendolyn's ugly fabric.
Candace and Dawn have said it's beautiful, Gwendolyn, and Jan says it's pretty, Donna. So that's great.
Thanks. So here was the fabric. Here was the fabric. And what it was is one of the quilt shops, they just found, it started out with panels. They would say there were panels that just didn't sell well. And so you would buy a panel for $3, like in March at one of the shop hops. And then you would take it home and you would make a quilt out of it and bring it back in September. They would hang them in October for the fall shop hop. And then everybody that come in for the shop hop voted on what they liked the best. So then they went to fabric, like maybe fabric that didn't sell very well. And then they would have those, they would have like 8 or 10 for you to choose from. And you would just take those and make something. So I did that a lot, but she's now in our, one of the quilt guilds that I'm in there in Bernie, Texas. And so they put it out. They said, bring $5 and a notion, and then take that yard of fabric and make something, bring it back. And then everybody that comes to the guild meeting will vote. And then somebody will win all the notions that were.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
So it's not really that it was ugly fabric. It was more that it was just not selling or not wanting.
Maybe more difficult to work with.
That's what it was called, though. It was called Ugly Quilt Contest. And now that I can't remember what they name it, but yeah, it's just different. But it was just fabric, that wasn't selling well. And so they would get it gathered up, and then people would buy, pay $3 or $5 for it and then come back and bring, make a quilt. But I did it just because I thought it was fun, right? It's just a challenge. But there were so many creative people. I mean, some people made like 3D quilts with the pony on it and his tail, just like, but it just
depends. Like, I had no chance, but this was cool.
right. Well, I
think it's awesome.
I'm just not, I don't do it to spend intricate time that I think that I'm going to win. Like I said, I just liked it because it was kind of like a little challenge, and I've made, I don't know, 6 or 8 quilts with them, right? 5 or 6 years. I know that I've done their challenge, but this time it was with our guild. So yeah, so it just helps.
I wonder if we could figure out like a year-long challenge here, maybe like with quarterly prizes for just finishes. Like it doesn't have to be a UFO or one you just started. It could just finishes from that you worked on throughout the project or throughout the thing. So we could figure it out where, the folks of us who join in for the Zoom, but also have people like submit pictures We'll have to
Maybe
figure
through
it out.
Instagram and a hashtag or something like
Yeah,
that.
that could work.
Well, there you go.
But it would
Yes.
have to be like submitted like during the hours that the Sit and Sew's live or something. And just to put some kind of a thing on it
A
to know
limit
that
of some
people
sort.
are like joining in. And
Yeah.
and then like anyone who submits a finish during any episode will be entered for like a quarterly drawing, and then we can have like a year drawing maybe.
That'd be
Maybe
fun.
monthly. I bet you I could get
Ooh.
enough people to give me free fabric from the industry to make it monthly. I
Yeah.
probably
That would
could
be fun.
make this happen.
And that helps people, like if you are doing like UFOs or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a UFO. You could have started it Thursday like Chantel did, or you could be working on a several-year-old project like I'm doing right now.
But you're encouraging people to sew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
This is what this is
encouraging them
all
to
about.
Finish,
We have
right?
Jane N entering the waiting room. Jane, we would like you to answer a quilting question over on the YouTube comments before we let you in. Let's go. What are the parts of a quilt sandwich? And if you need a
Lettuce,
different
tomato, hold the
question,
pickle.
I know, right? If you need a different question, go ahead and let us know that you don't know what a quilt sandwich is, and we can give you a different question. But what are the components of a quilt sandwich? What goes into a quilt sandwich? And there's a little bit of a delay, so it might be a moment before we actually hear her type there. Once we know who you are, we let you straight in. But for new folks,
We've had some exciting visitors before that maybe
We
weren't
have.
here for the right reasons.
yeah,
They were
They were
really
very
using their
spirited.
quilts creatively.
yes. We don't
So
need to talk about that every time, but yes.
It's funny.
So I'm
sorry.
so I won't say any names, but I was watching a gal, a YouTuber, and while she was on live, her husband, you couldn't see him, but you could hear him out in the hallway, and he said, "Get off of there now. The police are at the door." And somebody had sent the police, said somebody was in danger or something, and it was all because she was on live, right? Like it was just to
That's insane.
mess up her life. She went off and she came back later. She was in tears. Like, right? Like
Well, I don't doubt it.
She was so upset because, well, somebody knew where she lived and somebody had done that, told them her address and said that
That's
there was
insane.
somebody in danger or something like that. And yeah, crazy. So yeah, you do need to watch who let into your group and you know what's going on and things. So there are people out there that need to find better things to do with their time.
All right.
She wasn't a
I
quilter,
suggest
was
quilting.
she?
But yeah, they need to take up quilting.
Was she a quilter, Donna?
Yes.
Oh, quilting YouTuber. Oh man.
Okay. How do I
Yeah,
remove a
She's
comment?
a quilter. She had a lot of followers too, so it was just really
Oh, what a shame.
it was really weird, but it took her a while before she like got back on alive, you know.
Hey, Jane Kowalski, are you the one who tried to just get in? Because I see you're out now, but you did comment something. We also had an interesting comment that I removed. So we have, you know, I think people just like don't have anything better to do sometimes on a Friday night. And they're trolling the YouTube live.
Again, we suggest quilting.
Yes, quilting is a great hobby. You have something productive when it's all
Just
done.
don't do it to save money.
No, don't do that. That won't help anything.
It won't.
Unless you make them so fast that you can and sell them, right? If you make
All right,
them fast,
Jane.
Yeah,
if you hop on now and try to get in the Zoom, we will approve you because we now know that you are in fact a legit quilter. It's all good. You know what? I actually didn't put the Zoom link at the top like I normally do. That would probably be helpful for people. If they want to come in.
Well, it was in the comment thing though. When
It was. It's in the
yeah, that's how I got on. Because I was looking for it earlier today because I didn't want to forget. Because a couple of my friends said, "Well, send me the link and I might get on." Right. So then I kept looking. I was like, "Well, I don't see him, and I didn't watch last week, so I don't know if she's going to be on tonight."
we are.
Yeah.
We talked about whether we were going to do it or not, and everyone said we need the accountability and we want to do it.
Yeah, as we do.
So you will to answer a quilting question to be admitted.
Yeah, there's somebody else that I watch sometimes, and she's not going to be on for the next 2 weeks. So
Everybody needs a vacation.
yeah, well, she's busy. She's got some stuff going on, and yeah, we have sometimes you have things in life that you can't just do that. I mean, my friends that I have Zoom with, we started doing Zoom on Wednesdays, but because I had some appointments on Wednesday or something, so we did it today. But there's 5 of us total, and like they want to do it every Wednesday, right? So I said, well, I'm going to be gone to retreat. I'll be in Alabama on Wednesday. And they said, well, maybe you could do it from Alabama and we can meet everybody and see where you're at. And I said, well, I'll just have to talk to everybody. So I said, I don't know, I'll let you know what I decide, if I do it, and I'll give you a time or whatever I'm going to do it. So yeah, they were all excited because they wanted to be at the retreat.
We have someone on from Brazil, so that's very cool. So hello. I don't know how you say hi in
Hola.
Brazil. All right, Jane, we're letting you in. Lance, you need to answer a quilting question. What do you call a 1/4 yard of fabric that is not I think I need to lose some weight and get a little bit more active first. All right, Ann, we have had some characters on tonight. So you've really got to prove your quilting knowledge. Or you said your new sweater. So I need to know, what are the 2 types of ways you can knit a sweater? Any type of construction method for making a sweater will suffice. And I am also a very, very good knitter, so I will know some answers for that.
I am not a good knitter. In fact, I got donated to a different area of the camp after 2 days of helping.
Did you show us our thing yet? Is that down here? Where's your washcloth? Where's your dishcloth?
Oh God, I think that's a good question. I think it's in the depths of the minivan.
What's the name of the pattern you use to knit your sweater, Ann? We always have some interesting folks here.
It's almost like you need a separate waiting room, but that you can see them in the waiting room before you.
I know. I can't though. It's just the problem.
We'll figure out a way eventually to get this all in order.
Oh, Lord Almighty. Yes.
I know, right?
It's like everybody close your eyes until Stephanie checks them out.
I know, right? Gigi Quilt says, hey, Gwen.
Hey. So Donna sewed. I watched Theron yesterday so that my daughter could get a break now that her husband has left for basic training. It's just so weird. I get to call my daughter's husband, right? She's been married 3 weeks now.
That's good.
Not even like 2.
It feels weird. Feels weird. 2, 3, whatever it is. But yeah, I'm not calling him the boyfriend anymore. I'm calling him the boyfriend, the son-in-law, the husband.
Now it's a son-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was tired. She's really tired this week. And so I go, well, I said, if you want to bring Theron over, I'll watch him. This was Tuesday night, I think. Wednesday night. And so she's like, oh, would you? Oh, please. She said she slept like 12 hours straight. she goes, I really need to catch up on laundry. But instead she slept. And I was
Oh, I
like,
don't
that's
blame
okay.
her.
So yesterday she came over for a little bit during the day. And then I said, well, since you didn't get your laundry done, I said, if you want to leave him over here again, I'll watch him again. So I watched him a second night for her. And we had so much fun watching movies. And oh my gosh, I just love what he's doing right now. Although
how old is he?
He's 3. He just turned 3 in May. But Donna, if you don't know, he's autistic. And so he has been mostly non-communicative.
Right.
He had surgery when he was 3 months old. And so he has just caught on, and he is just loving learning about like the names of things. He just walks around pointing to things, going that, and just wants to us to tell him what the name of that thing is over and over again. And then
my favorite's fish.
Yes, fish.
Oh, I remember you talking about that. The fish.
Yeah, fish. And then now he's doing way for whale. And
that's
he's
great.
doing dolphin really good. He's like dolphin. And then frog for frog. So,
Who told you he'd catch on? That's
I know,
awesome.
so fast too. I just can't even believe it. It's like, and so I've been introducing new things. So like pretty much all the aquatic stuff. He just loves the aquatic stuff and the birds. Those are the two things. So Fat Quarter Shop had the Elizabeth Hartman patterns on sale this week. So
thanks for letting me know.
Yes, by the way. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. Always happy to be an enabler. Yes.
Chantel tries to enable me more than it actually works out for.
We're always enabling each other.
She's like, oh hey, there's a sale on
Let me
American
just
Girl.
tell you something. It doesn't take much to enable any of us. I'm
no.
sure.
No, not really.
Easy. So I picked up the Elizabeth Hartman. I picked up both of them. The one that has the parrots and the different birds on it. I can't remember what it's called. And then there's the other one that has all the sea, the little sea creatures. Yeah. So I'm going to make him some pillows out of those because he is like a blanket and pillow dude, right? He comes over and we have like quilts and blankets on the couch, and he has to bundle himself all up in them and make his little.
He's your perfect grandson.
Oh, it couldn't be more perfect. Could not be more perfect.
A blanket and pillow grandson. Nailed it.
Yep. God knew what I needed. But so I got those new patterns, and so I'm really excited, especially since I've been working on my scraps. I'm going to pull out a bunch of scraps this week and start, putting it in with each of the patterns to build up, because I want them to be super scrappy. I think it'd be fun if I did it in a way that's sort of like an I Spy, but also it sticks to the pattern. So it's scrappy like an I Spy, where, we can point out, it could be like a burger, and for the, bird's belly, burger print or something, fun.
Yeah, like the birds have something in their tummy.
Yeah.
Like, what did the bird eat?
My kids love I Spy quilts. My aunt made one for my mom when the kids were little, and my 10-year-old was enjoying messing with it recently.
Yes. I really think that he would like that. And it's funny that I even said about the burger, because the one book he pulled out this week, it was a book, I don't remember what it's called, because I don't read the words. Reading the words is too much for him. He has just started turning the pages of the hard books, and so you have to like get it out in 4 words or less, or you're on to the next page.
Yeah.
But it's one where they're 2 dolphins, and they're eating nachos and cheese. Dolphins eat nachos, and the whole book's about trying to convince a polar bear that these two dolphins, that's what they eat, is nachos and cheese. And at the end, it's like, no, silly, we really don't eat nachos and cheese. So my daughter comes in and she sees this book. She goes, why is there nachos and cheese? Oh, it's not, sorry, it's not dolphin. It's the what's the one with the horn? The unicorn. No, I can't think of. Oh, Narwhal. It's the narwhal. And so there's the nachos and cheese on top of the unicorn of the narwhal, and she's like, why does this narwhal have nachos and cheese on its horn? And I'm like, that's what it's about. It's about, trying to convince the polar bear that that's what they eat. It's funny.
Everybody knows narwhals eat shrimp tacos, not
Shrimp tacos.
My husband was a little shocked to know that narwhals were a real animal.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I learned
no,
that from
it's
Elf.
real. They're actually real. But it was really funny.
Well, it sounds mythical. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Like
it does.
has a horn.
I mean, it has a really long tooth, is what it has. But
then
yes.
So does the Loch Ness Monster. It sounds, fake too.
Oh, is it? God.
Not if you read Stephen Alton, it's not.
There's a lot of proof that it was, or even still is. Just depends.
I don't know. We have a dog toy of the Loch Ness Monster, and it is Cubby's favorite.
That's funny.
He loves that thing.
My dad made a comment. They used to have dogs, and then they had this dog that they loved so deeply that when the dog passed, they just didn't want to get another one. And they were both still working at the time, and we were out of the house, so it's not like it was different. And so they've been without a dog now for like 10 years. And he made a comment about we need a dog when he was cleaning up from dinner tonight, because there was the kids, they drop everything. And I was like, I could bring Remy. But then
Like,
apparently
we have
Remy,
the technology.
apparently Remy made a mess of things.
Oh,
The last time he was here. Narwhal.
All I have to say is,
How do we spell narwhal? Isn't it N-A-R?
I think it's
narwhal.
I think it's N-A-H.
N-A-R-W-H-A-L.
It's not an H.
I think there
I
is
don't
an
know.
H in it. This is a question for Google. But it's
Say
a
the
whale.
Google.
I can
It's a
tell you in a
whale that has a really long tooth that looks like a horn, and they call it the unicorn of the sea, and it lives in the Arctic, and it is a real animal. So it is a thing. They are real.
Narwhals are real.
But welcome, Julie. Narwhal is how you spell narwhals.
And there's his nachos.
Nailed it. Yes.
There's his nachos on his unicorn.
What's the author?
By Oakley Graham.
That's funny.
Let me see if I can move it back. Oh, cute.
I
That's cute.
love it.
Very cute. We have so many children's books. It's like ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
I'm starting to go through my stuff, like all that stuff, because it's just getting overwhelming. I'm trying to become less of a maximalist, like a maximalist in that I actually know where I have my stuff, and less of a, hoarder, I guess.
I tried to talk Lily into letting go of some of the board books because she is kind of past that, but that was a no.
That was
We're not
no.
ready for that yet, apparently.
Well,
But
I thought we were ready to get rid of baby stuff because about I don't know, right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we started going through all the old baby stuff and going, okay, if you have another child, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that. And then she found out she's pregnant, and now, nope, got to keep it all. She doesn't want to get rid of anything. She's like, I don't know if I'll need it. I don't know if I'll need it. I'm like,
I had gotten rid of everything because I thought I couldn't have a second baby.
Thin it out. She's got a lot.
I thought I couldn't have a second baby.
Yeah.
And so
I
I
had
got rid
fun
of
buying for the
everything.
third. Yeah.
Oh
Ugh.
yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, you probably got rid of everything too.
Oh, I did. I did.
So when you guys had your last ones, your bonus babies, did you go out and like did you buy everything or did like that round did you go light?
It wasn't really a bonus baby. Like we were trying, but it just
Okay.
wasn't happening. And so I still had some stuff. I had gotten rid of a lot of like I got rid of all the clothes and the books and what else? Some toys and puzzles and things like that that my daughter had outgrown, but I hadn't gotten rid of the big stuff yet. I did need to get a new bassinet because the one that I got for my older daughter was recalled.
Oh, the rock and play.
Yeah, that one.
Ah,
That thing was
never forgave
magic,
them. You know.
but it is dangerous, so we were not able to
Why
keep
was it
that one
recalled? What was wrong with it?
because
It
babies
had an
suffocated in
incline,
it. Yeah,
so some babies would fall and like, collapse
suffocate.
their trachea basically.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So for a
But
really
it was
bad reason.
far and few between, and for a kid that had reflux like mine did, it was a miracle.
That
But
was the only way Angela would sleep for months was in that thing. But you'd rather have your baby alive, so you're not going to mess around with that. So,
No
but yeah,
brainer.
so
rid
that
of
I had
everything.
like I needed a new mattress for the crib. I needed a lot of new stuff, but it worked out. It wasn't so much new. And they were born in different seasons. So like all of the first year's worth of clothes wouldn't have worked anyway because one was in May and the other one was in January. So, but it's fine. It worked out. I definitely knew I probably bought less because I knew what I actually needed
Yeah.
as opposed to other
With the
people telling you what
experience
you
of-
need,
Yeah. You already experienced having the other kids, so
Mhm.
I would say I bought some stuff that was nicer quality that time around because I knew it was like the end. Like I got the outfits I wanted, and I bought the stroller I actually wanted. And then other stuff I was like, I just don't even need this. Why
Yeah.
bother?
Oh, I still have my stroller. I just got rid of that not that long ago.
I had to get one of those pretty up a baby ones, and
So-
I love that thing.
okay, so your kids are pretty close together. So did you guys find value or did you have a double stroller or did you just the older one just make them walk?
Mine are 5.5 years apart, so mine are not close together.
But mine were 19 months apart, and then, so that I would suggest getting the double stroller. But I liked having the double wide. It was annoying for other people around me, but it was easier for my toddler to crawl in and out.
Then the one that's front and back?
Yeah.
See,
But I would get a baby jogger brand double stroller side by side if I
we
had to
have
tell
a
you the exact
really,
same one to get.
really nice stroller. Like the stroller was like $800. It was
Yeah.
the Nanu, Nuna.
Oh yeah, one of the Nanu baby ones.
Nuna. I think it might have been Nuna.
Yeah.
And so it's super, super nice. It has the infant and then it also can go bigger than that.
Does it have an addition? Some of them have additions that you can add on the additional seat.
But they actually have a different one that's for the two babies. Here's the thing though. With Theron, there was a lot of value in that because with all of his doctor appointments, I mean, we were 40 hours a week for the first year hitting doctor's offices. Okay. It was full-time job. So he was in that stroller. He lived in that stroller. It was just constant go, go, go. Right. And the car seat and stuff. But let's pray and hope that the new baby, that is not the case. And so I'm hopeful that maybe we can just go like cheaper.
I do see a lot of moms because, the girls go to a school where there's lots
Right.
of babies. And I see a lot of moms with the strollers where you can just take the car seat out and plop it in the stroller.
Yeah, and that's what this one is. And
Yeah.
I would
mean,
keep what you have and only upgrade if you find that what you have is annoying you.
and see, that's why I'm like, do we really want to make the
I
investment
wouldn't
up
upgrade
to?
till you had to.
Because I'm hopeful that, I mean, the baby will be here. Theron will still be 3. He still wants to be carried. I mean, that's part of him, though. He wants to be like on your lap, on your hip, in your personal space 24 hours a day. Like, he sleeps in my arm, even at 3 years old. He falls asleep. That's just where he likes to be. And that's part of, everything that goes on with him. But I'm just thinking that if we could save the money. If she could save the money, I say we. I don't think we would be buying it, but if they could save the money, not have to go to a different stroller, to a 2-person stroller, get away with the one. I would really like,
You know what my favorite stroller was when they turned 3?
The umbrella one.
An umbrella stroller, $20 at Target.
I remember 25 at Walmart right now, and they have the little ones that have like the little dinosaur umbrella.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I had brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
That was perfect.
I thought
I spend hundreds of dollars when the $25 one will do the same thing.
Well, it depends on how many miles you're putting on that stroller, because at a certain point, there is value in having something a little more substantial, but also don't devalue the fact that Amazon Prime Week is coming.
Oh, true.
The 19th, the 16th, and the 17th, because that you can get some really good deals on things. Like, we loved our Baby Jogger brand strollers. Those things were workhorses, and they really weren't that expensive when you got them on a deal. And that's next week.
That is next week.
Well, my son's 45 and my daughter's going to be 43 in October.
So I don't think babies are in your future.
Right. My youngest grandchild is going to be 12 on the 15th. Yeah. Long time. Goodness. Don't need none of that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe that's my working on new grandbabies for you, huh, Donna?
I was going to say it's going to be a great grandbaby, the next one, right? Because my oldest grandson is 18. But let's hope that he waits a long time, right? I'm not ready to be a great grandma yet.
Someone said something about today. What would a mom do? She had 6 kids, and I answered cry. And my mom laughed.
I was really blessed. My 2 kids, they both slept all night after 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So the first night,
Donna, you've been canceled. Get out of here.
My son, when he slept all night, I mean, I laid him down like at 10 o'clock, and at 6 a.m. I woke up and I went flying in there, right? Because I did my son that I had before him, he lived 33 days and he died.
Oh.
And so anyway, I was freaking out. I thought, oh my gosh, he's died, right? Nope. He was just in there sleeping away. But I breastfed them. And what I would do at night about 9 o'clock, I would feed them. And of course, doctors don't want you to do this, right? But this is just what I knew to do. I mixed a little bit of rice cereal. So his nighttime bottle, I gave him formula because I wanted him, in case something happened to me, I wanted him to still eat, right? To be used to a bottle if he needed one.
Right.
So I would put a little bit of rice cereal in his formula. I would give him a bath. I would feed him. I put him in bed. Same happened with my daughter. Same thing. 2 weeks. They slept all night. They're waking up because they're flipping hungry, right? And doctors don't want you to feed them that early. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? They need rest, and so do you. Yeah.
My son had to have rice in his food because he was a preemie and he had such bad reflux So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
really, yeah. So, under medical advice, we were allowed to do that. And he was a better sleeper than my girls.
But when I had my
Substantially
kids,
so.
there wasn't all this stuff about, oh, you don't need to feed them till they're 6 months and don't introduce food till they're a year. It's like, that's baloney. That is, to me, that's baloney. It didn't, it wouldn't have worked for my kid. I don't know. I just did what I thought was best, right? And they don't have allergies. They're not sickly. I guarantee you I can count on one hand probably in their life that they've been like sick, right? And they're in their 40s. So I attribute that to breastfeeding, but I don't know. They're just not sick. They didn't pick up every little thing that came through the school system,
Yeah.
viruses
I'm the
and all
one that
that.
did that.
They just didn't get sick, and they still.
I think it's interesting though. Like it's all about circumstance because like my
Yeah.
daughter was born right before COVID. And so she really wasn't in the world until she was 2. And then the second I put her in daycare, we
Yep.
found out she had viral induced asthma because all of a sudden she's getting 2 years worth of germs she would have normally gotten earlier
Exactly.
all at
Exactly.
once. And that kid was in the doctor so much. And it was just like, oh my gosh.
Well,
But,
and that's
it's just,
that just goes to show they do need to be introduced
yeah.
to things. They don't need to be sheltered. Yeah. I mean,
I
yeah, we
mean, in
understand
COVID,
for
it was
people,
very special, but a situation.
right. That
but-
was a special circumstance. You had to do
Yeah.
what you have to do, right? But it just shows, they need to get out. They need to be out. They need to do things. I mean, for goodness sakes, we got out and ate dirt when we were kids, right? It's like we're still here.
Just not the
All right.
lead paint. Don't eat the lead paint.
Yeah.
no,
Don't chew on the woodwork.
Yep. You got to watch.
You know,
that.
in
That's
my
frowned upon.
area, if I don't know if this is nationwide, but if you live in a house that was built during the time that lead paint was used, they have to be tested for that at a certain
Yep.
age.
Yeah, I think so. They test Theron, but our house wasn't built during that time, but they test him. And they always tested Zoe for lead. So I just think maybe
I just didn't know
maybe
about that.
maybe it's just like a thing that all doctors' offices do, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that we had to do it because of our house age.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah, I
ask if your
didn't
house
even
was
go to
before a
that.
certain time period, and then they suggest it. But I think it's required to be covered under insurance for if you live in a home or commonly in an area where blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. All right, we should probably get back to quilting.
Yeah, we
So-
did manage a good tangent there, didn't we?
We did a very good winding tangent there.
Yeah. So what topic's up next?
That's a good question. We gotta quit at this point.
I'm betting.
What does
it's-
everybody want to get accomplished this coming week?
I don't want to make another flying goose.
Well, are you done with them now?
Oh
I
yeah,
wanna get
I'm at the point where I'm like pressing all my blocks and
Well, there you go.
I'm
That's not
doing
so
I'm
bad.
just trying to
stashing next.
figure out what I'm taking to retreat. I have like 8 projects over there in the corner that I'll whittle down to like 4 or 5. But I'm going to be there all week, right? And
Yeah.
so if I take stuff that's not like there's only one project that I'm bringing that's going to be like a new start. The other stuff is I want to finish some UFOs.
Are you gonna
So-
cut it all before you go?
Well, that one I may or may not. It just depends. I've got so much stuff to do before I leave. But the one is it was from Stitches of Love. It's some gnomes. They're embroidery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen those.
So cute. And I bought the embroidery file. So yeah, you just iron them on and
Is that
wait
the
for
only
the
one you've ever
placements.
did for them, Donna? Have you did any of the other ones?
I did. I'm trying to think if it was Stitches of Love or if it was another one that was embroidery, hand embroidery. It's got a bunch of little. It's like the cloth. It's printed on there and it's got a sticky kind of. You just put that over your fabric, and then you do all the hand embroidery stitches, and then that washes off. but I thought that was the Stitches of Love also, but it might have not. It might have been a different one.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's the first one that I've done of the machine embroidery with them. But I love it. Like it turns out great. Yeah,
I wish
was
they
really
would bring the hedgies back. They had the hedgies, and they were the little hedgehogs.
Mhm.
And oh, it was so cute. And I was gonna do it, and I was gonna get it, and it was back during COVID or right after COVID, something like that. And then I missed it, and they have not brought it back since. I keep
Yeah,
waiting.
yeah. I took
I
my
emailed her and I said, "Are you ever gonna bring hedgies back? I want to do hedgies." And she's like, not right now. We'll see."
yeah.
But they brought like the girls and the boys. Like they have that one that's just for the boys and then one just for the girls. They brought that back several times. The Halloween one they did several times.
Yeah.
So
Well, I had taken mine. We have it's called Embroidery Club at a quilt shop that I go to, and I had taken them because they want you to bring stuff that you're working on or that stuff you want to share. And I had taken them. I have about 6 or 7 months of mine done out of the 12 months. So I took it, and the lady that does the class, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to do that." So I told her, where it was, and she contacted them, and they said, "No, we won't redo that." But now they have apparently got some other kind of gnome something or another. So she said, "I've already ordered it." She was all excited about
yeah.
it.
That's funny.
But she was gonna, she could if she could get the pattern, she could put it in. We've been talking a lot about the snapplique. Are y'all familiar with power tools with thread?
Yeah.
Becky Thompson, and she's actually trademarked it now. It's called snapplique.
Nice.
So you can take let's just say it's an embroidery shape, or it's a shape, right? Like even your So Simple shapes from Lori Holt is what she does too. And you put those in the scanning cut. You take that and put it into Brother Workspace, which is a free program. Arrange them like you want them, and then you can take them into your embroidery software and tell it, "Okay, I want to embroider, this. I want a blanket stitch, or you want a satin stitch, or whatever you want." And that way you don't have to turn or applique anything. It's set up and your embroidery machine does it all.
Wow.
But that's a really cool technique. So, you could
I have
take any
seen stuff
shape.
like that.
Yeah, you could take any shape or pattern or anything like that and turn it into what she calls snapplique. But it's a pretty cool process. But if you want to learn about it, I mean, just go on. You can, she does step by step, everything step by step. She uses Embrilliance or something like that. But I have Floriani software, and then I have Premiere software. I like Floriani better. I think it's more user friendly. But yeah, so I've been practicing, but I bought a scan and cut, and I just haven't had time to I need to take a week and say, this is, scan and cut week, right? And just practice and get some stuff done, because I have the chicken salad quilt, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the snapplique with it. So I won't be using this. Well, you still have to use the So Simple shapes, as far as, you got to have something to trace around to get those shapes. And then you can use your scan and cut to cut your fabric. You'll fuse your fabric and then cut it, and then put it into the program and turn it into an applique embroidery for your embroidery machine. And it doesn't, you don't have to have a Brother machine. You just need one that you can put a USB in and put your files into a USB and put them to your embroidery machine. So that's pretty cool. But it's just a process. You gotta, I'm gonna have to do it, 3 or 4 times so that I get it down. I don't want to be sitting watching a video and then backing it. Oh, I gotta watch that again. I don't want to do that. So I need to pay attention and concentrate. But I want to get it down because I have a couple more of her patterns that I want to do. So we'll see. But that's what I'm going to be working on in the next couple, 2 or 3 days, is figuring out exactly what projects. And used to, I would, throughout the month before, I would just lay stuff on the guest bedroom bed. And then as it got closer, then I would weed them down to, I feel like working on that. And then I get ready to pack that day, right? Or the night before. And it's like, end up not even taking that. I'll find something else. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let's take this, So I never know what I'm going to bring.
I made a list for my retreat. Like I started 2 months ahead of time making a list. And so every time I thought of something, I would add it to my list. It would be like, Oh yeah, don't forget my power cord. Don't forget my,
Oh, well,
light.
There's checklists that you print out. I've got a couple different ones, but I go to 5, 6, 7 retreats a year. So I already know I don't forget my stuff.
Oh, that's
But
good.
my thing is like deciding, okay, what am I going to work on? Right. I got to choose from like 300 items here I could take. Right? New kits, in process kits, whatever things. Yeah. But I'm trying really, really hard this year to work on UFOs. So like I said, I have 3 or 4 over there. I mean, I've even got this little horsey thing that he needs to be finished. It won't probably take an hour to finish him, but he's a stuffed horse. He's the lady that taught the class. She met there's like cows, horses. There's different ones, but they're just so stinking cute. It's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I just wanted to make it. He was just too cute. Let me show you a picture. I can find it.
Sometimes you just want to make things. Figure
Carolyn
out what later.
Carolyn on the YouTube comments says she wants to prioritize all of her planned projects. That hopefully is not a very large number, because I know I wouldn't even be able to accomplish that at all.
Here he is. Nutty Nag.
Oh, that looks fun.
But she used like the gal that taught the class, like different, like so many different yarns. She put suspenders on some. She put ties on some. Just very creative. She had a lot. There was probably 20 different horses and cows in the quilt shop, like that she had made. And so I took the class, but I need to finish that. It's like he doesn't, he doesn't need a whole lot. Oh, here we go.
So you like horses, Donna? Do you like to collect?
Yeah, I have horses. Yeah, so horses are my. So let me see if I can hold that right. So there's one of those Highland cows, right? That's in
that
this
looks fun.
Thing. And
do you like untwist the yarn once it's in?
Yes.
Okay.
And she had a specific, like I had some really bulky, I don't know where I got it in some of my things, but here's part of this is actually some groupings that will go in the mane of my horse. So it's kind of hard
cute.
to see, but so there's thin and then there's like really thick stuff in there, but there's like batches of them that you make. And then you'll do the same thing like for the tail and stuff. But, he's just going to be so stinking cute. It's like,
that does look like fun.
I just need to clear out. Right, I've got stuff in
after you make it, we'll all think it's so cute. We'll all be having you make one for us.
Oh my. But they take a long time. Like there's a lot of detail in it, like just piecing it together.
So do you watch that gal on YouTube? Her channel is Pay It Forward.
No, I haven't heard of her.
She does a lot of pin cushions and stuffies and stuff, and all her patterns are free. She gives them all free. She's she's from Europe, from Brit. I think she's a Brit or European. I'm sorry, I don't know the difference between the different countries up there, but England, whatever. So and she is very, very good, and I love her stuff. It is so creative. But she's got all these like little tchotchke kind of stuffed animal-ish things. Does that make sense? And sometimes she does it in pin cushions, sometimes it's stuffed animals, other things. But her channel is really fun to watch.
And what's the name of it?
I believe it's called Pay It Forward.
Pay It Forward. I'm gonna write that down.
If it's not that, it's some very close version of that.
Yeah. The little stuff like that, like if it doesn't take like 3 days to make one, right? That's the kind of stuff I like to make, because at our retreats, a lot of times, I make stuff to give everybody, right? Like one or two things, depending on what it is. I mean, I've made I made them a pressing board like this. I use this kind of pressing board. I don't like the wool. I want something that's hard, not cushy, but this is a pressing board. And so it's just a piece of plywood. You cover it with batting, you put your ironing board material on it, and then you cover it with a fat quarter, right?
So why
And
do
I
you
make-
use
I make-
a piece of wood instead of just like a foam board?
Because I don't want it cushy. If you want something, if you're going to be pressing stuff to be flat, why do you want something cushy? I want it flat and hard. So here's the back side. It's just folded. The stuff is just folded around it. But
I get super flat
way
with
I
a
do it.
combo. I know you don't like the felt, but I use a felt one and then a spray mister and the Oliso, and I get the flattest seams with that. That
Well,
and
I bought
pressing open.
Yeah, I bought a new setup that when I'm not using this over here, I have another board that's similar to it. It's a big pressing table. I don't know, it's like 40 something long and 25.
They called the big board.
Well, they're handmade from one of the places that I go to retreat from the quilt shop. I can maybe I can show it to
Donna,
you.
what do you put in that one that you have again? With the the wood?
I put a piece of batting, just whatever batting, batting scrap. Then I take that ironing board material
Okay.
and
Like
put
the-
that over, right,
like
and then I
the-
put then I just
What is
take
it called? Heat and press or something like that?
No, it's just it's
So
like
the
a flimsy. It's a little flimsy piece of material. It's fabric. It's shiny on one side like an ironing board. It's not
Yeah,
thick.
I know what you're talking about.
It's just like fabric, and it's just called ironing board material. That's how
Okay.
I look.
So you have the batting, the ironing board material, and then you put batting again on top of it?
No, I put a fat quarter, a
Oh.
fat quarter on top. You just
Okay.
cover it with a fat quarter. So this one is, let me see, this one is 18 by 8. That doesn't look right. 18 by 11, 18 by 12. Anyway, there were 20 people there, which, I needed to make 19. My husband bought a sheet of plywood, and the way I divided it up, I had just enough for everybody. So one sheet of plywood, and then I figured up like how much yardage I needed. But you needed a fat quarter pretty much size of each of your materials. Fat quarter of batting, fat quarter of the ironing material, and then a fat quarter of fabric.
That is a great idea.
Then I had then you just take a stapler and staple it all on.
Yeah.
It
Like
was easy.
upholster it.
But like for this
Yeah.
one, so I have a couple things, but this is one of them I'm doing. So a lot of times we go and all the towels will be white, right? And you're rooming with 3 or 4 other people. They're all in the same bathroom. Everybody's got a white towel. So this is a clothespin. So I just took some washi tape, some quilty washi
Oh, that's
tape.
cute.
And I covered one side, and then the other side I covered too, but then their name is on it. So they can hang that on the bottom of their towel. They can put their hand towel in their washcloth and pin it all on the clothespin, and then they know that's their set of towels or whatever. So that's just something easy and quick. But I've made, keychains and pin cushions and, just whatever. But it's hard to come up with stuff because four of the quilt retreats I go to have a lot of the same people in those 4. It's like one lady, she has 2. She does a February and she does a December. And then another lady that's in that group, she has one in May that's called Beat the Heat. And then we have another one that's called the Stitch and Sisters Retreat, and it's in August in Rockport. So, the one that I go to in Alabama, nobody there knows any of those people from that retreat. So I can swap ideas, right?
Yeah.
If I get something from one of these here in Texas, then I can make that kind of stuff for my gals in Alabama and vice versa. But this idea for this pressing board was from a gal. She made them for all of us in
That's a cute idea.
in the
I've
Alabama retreat.
repurposed those boards that you can buy that have the ribbon that cross the ribbon, and you used to put your cards
Like
in
a
there.
photo
to
board.
sign in.
Yeah.
Display.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
These
at the
are cute.
Goodwill or thrift stores and stuff, a lot of times you find those for like $1 or $2. I've taken those and I did what you did with the plywood, because it's not thick plywood. It's a thin piece of board, but it still is very sturdy. It has the frame, you know, around the back of it. And so I just take off the old material and I just put on new batting and then the ironing board material. And then, but I usually use two. That's why I was asking. I usually use two batting, one on the bottom and one on top of the ironing board material. But if you think it works without it, well, then I might try my next one that I make without it on top.
I love this. And like she did a little extra, like I don't know if you can tell, but she kind of made an angle on that corner. I left mine just square and just folded it. And because, you know, I was trying to make 20 of them. It's like,
right. Well, and you could even embellish it even more and put like little feet on, just get those little screw feet, you know, put a little hanger on it, you know, I mean, depending on how much somebody want to do. If they went to a retreat that only had 6 or 8 people, you know,
all of mine, the least,
add more detail.
If it were me, I think I'd cover all those staples. So that way, if you're working on like your dining room table, you wouldn't like scrape it or something.
Mine actually, like I have a table that's at the end of my sewing table here, and it's padded. It's actually an ironing board. Like, and then
I've seen people do that with like TV trays.
A table that lays it out, and so it just lays on top of that. But I didn't think about that. It might scratch something, right?
Yeah, but you could just put like a decorative ribbon on and like glue it down.
I've put on 2 of mine. I've put flannel instead of cotton. I put a cotton flannel on top. That way, I could use it as a project board as well as something I can iron on. Yeah.
Well, and these 2, I've made these, you know, which Lori Holt sells them, right? Well, I don't.
Oh, the project boards, yeah.
Those are with the foam
poster board from Walmart.
She has
Dollar Tree, and I use duct tape. I do not put binding.
She has
put duct tape
tutorial for making those boards. She sells them, but she also has a tutorial for how to make those, which I thought that was kind of nice of her to.
I thought so.
Yeah, but she uses hot glue and binding fabric, but I put duct tape on the edge of mine and they last. Just don't forget that it's not for ironing, right? Like, because you will.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So I just use them for display, but I lay out my blocks a lot of times on those, and you know I do several Lori Holt projects and stuff. So I have 4 or 5 that are 18. I have probably 4 at least that are 16 inches. I've got some that are 8 inches, you know. So
have you seen like they're the foldable cardboard like cutting mats? You wouldn't be able to actually use a rotary cutter on it, but if you were a dressmaker, you'd be able to lay it out because it's cardboard. I've seen people take that and then put flannel tablecloths over it, and then you can just clamp it on with like, you know, binder clips that you would use at the office supply store, and that makes a nice portable design wall when you're at a place like that. Oh, we have a kitty appearance. Whose kitty do we have?
We do. This is Willow.
Oh,
I have a basset hound named Willow.
He's a tortie.
She says, "Oh, you give me too much attention. I'm out of here."
Oh.
Just like a cat, right?
Just like a tortie, I'm telling you.
That's funny.
She's my sassy, sweet one. Sweet sassy.
I would like to get, obviously, my video edited, but also a quilt top done and sent off to Shelly, who is going to be doing my quilting for my panel quilts for the book. So that
I just want to say you're a superhero for finishing projects in like decent sittings, because I am like dying right now wanting this quilt done so bad.
It is
realizing
my
that I just
job.
started a few days ago. I know, but you know, what if it were my job? Maybe it's not my job.
It can be
I would do it, but
there was a lot riding on it. Like my entire family's like income and everyone who worked for us, like our full-time people.
That's true.
Like
my whole body's hurting right now from this. I think I need a break.
This is why I would always schedule a massage for like the week after I finished, and they would fix me, and then I would try not to ruin it for a little bit.
That's a good idea too, and that's a pretty good reward for finishing, right?
It is for sure.
My massage. That's another thing that's cool about retreats too. You get, we always have a masseuse that comes in and get massaged. Sometimes at this particular retreat, a lot of times they'll have somebody that comes in and does pedicures. And they do, they just use one of the rooms and do pedicures. So it's like, oh,
one time we had a reflexologist. That was awesome.
Cool.
That was very, very nice.
Was it expensive?
I don't think it was worse than a massage.
More like a massage, yeah.
I don't remember it being more expensive than a massage.
Yeah.
This was like pre-children's. This was a long time ago, so I don't remember.
I wanted to do the massage at the retreat that I went to, but instead I went out and I spent all my money at quilting shops.
It happens.
So I was like, no, something's got to give. I don't have the funds for the massage right now, but it was fun going shop hopping that day.
Well, this lady
to get my money go back.
This one offered hot stones this time too, so just too expensive. It's like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
I prefer to go when I come back, because if I got a massage like that and got everything all loosened up and then immediately went back to my slumped shoulder self, like I will ruin that in about 10 minutes and I will regret it.
I will say, I thought of you telling me that several times and I thought, I don't know. Stephanie says you get that massage and then you ruin it right away.
Well, also, you don't know what you're going to get when you get someone who comes in, because I had one time who, she travels, that's all she does, she travels and does stuff, and she would come to my home for months afterwards because she was so good. Like, when I get a massage, and this is everybody's personal preference, I want to feel like I got a massage. She
wants to be beat up.
I do want to be beat up, and because I want to know that my muscles have been worked. And like, that's what I like for a massage. I do not like to feel nice while it's happening and then get up and feel like, oh, my back still kind of hurts. Like, that's not a fun massage for me. And I've had ones where it's like they're beating me up, and most of the women there did not like that. She was not invited back, but I loved her and employed her for years. And then I've had ones where everybody loved it, but it was like, I'm like, okay, well, that kind of felt nice during it, and no other time.
I had the gal, so we went to a new place. One of the places
Misty
was
Proctor. I feel like we've had her in.
Yes.
Misty Proctor's been in? Okay.
But anyway,
I'm also got my hand on the trigger.
I don't remember.
We went to a new place because our one in Temple was selling, and we weren't sure if it sold, if it was still going to be a retreat place. So we went ahead and booked a different one. But the gal kept saying, she'd say, now, if I get too rough, if it hurts, let me know. And I kept waiting. I was like, you're going to need to do something, if you want me to feel it and say it hurts. Like, she was just too soft. So I didn't really like that. And then the one that's in Rockport, I love her. Sometimes I won't do one up in a different area because I want to wait for this particular lady. She's so good. And she'll ask you first, do you have anything you want me to work on? She's highly intelligent, and she's got a whole lot of little, a lot of things after her name, right? Like, she's qualified, and she's medically qualified to do a lot of things. And when she gets through with you, she's like you said, Stephanie, you've had a massage. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I want.
Yeah. I like her too. But she's worth waiting on. And then it's like, then you go to somebody else and you're like, I'm not paying my money for that. I'll go back to her, right? But she's Rockport, 3 hours away.
Marnie is on from Australia. Apparently it's cold there. It's very hot where we are at currently.
Ooh, yes.
On the other end of the hemisphere. The northern hemisphere anyway.
Yeah, right now, it's 11:22 and it's 86 degrees where I am.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, Illinois was like that for a while, but I think it's mostly calmed down now.
Yeah, well, it's the high for today is 97 and the low 74. So
You know, that's what I would like to do. Now that I have this hand sewing thing done, I would like to try to catch up on my temperature blanket and just start doing 2 days, 2 rows, like 2 days in one
Uh-huh.
day. And then
Now, are you doing a
eventually I will be
crochet?
caught up. Yeah, crochet.
Mhm.
I'm doing the moss stitch and I'm trying to learn. And this is how I learned to quilt too. I was like, I want to learn to do a new skill. I'm going to do it king size. And 16 degrees Celsius there, but feels like 10. That is chilly.
Yeah.
And I like that's kind of just how I rolled. I wanted it
And
to
what was the
be
name of the stitch?
the
What's
moss
the name?
stitch.
M-O-S?
Moss.
Moss.
And
I'm
I
just
think it's
doing chevron, and I started mine in like 2016, and I was frustrated because the pictures on Pinterest show it with, this really fancy stitch like you'd make for a granny square, right? You can't use that big a stitch because even a
it
little
gets big.
crochet
Yeah.
stitch, mine is, when I get it done, it's going to be like 13 foot long.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I used the wrong size crochet hook, but I'm not starting over. So I'm just gonna go with it and it'll have little gaps in it and it is what it is.
Well, I
So
started mine in 2016. It's still not done. I think I'm in like July. And I
I
just
would like
kind of like, I just don't feel like work. Here's the thing. Texas, it's all the high temperatures, right? I had to really fudge and redo the temperature so that I could actually have some color in
yeah.
it, right? And so that was a thing, but maybe I should do like my hometown of in Arkansas, where I would get a range of, cold and hot.
You could do your
We're
birth
all
year.
over.
Huh?
Maybe you could do your birth year.
Oh
For
yeah,
temperature quilt.
and the place that I was born, which was Geneva, Illinois.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's gonna have some range.
Oh, I did not even think of that. That's very cool. Now how am I going to finish my 2016 one, right? I'll have to make
See,
I
that's
have
the
to say,
thing.
okay, you have to finish the 2016 before I can start my birth year one. Oh,
I feel
that's
like I
cool.
have to finish this in what is it? 2024. Yes, it's 2024. I have to finish it this year or I'm
Last
just gonna feel
time I
like a
checked, it
failure.
was.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend that's doing one. It's little houses. And it's
Mhm.
not the one from Fat Quarter Shop that's a house and then it has a bunch of half square triangles for the temps. These are actually little houses, and the roof is the high. The walls of the house are the low, and then the sky is either like, if there's precipitation or it's clear or whatever. But she's keeping up with it. It's going to be really cute. But I think they're like 3.5 or 4.5 inch squares, like the houses.
Yeah.
But she's been keeping up with it. It's very, very, very cute. And she sent me the instructions, like what whoever designed that particular thing. But I was like, oh, good grief. That's just like, it's like, can you not just, yeah, it seemed like it was very intense for just a temperature quilt, but very, very cute. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it. Temperature quilts. Some of them are really pretty. And people do all kinds of different things with them, like different shapes for the days. And I think
Jaybird Quilts did one. And then I saw one that was like improv piece 9 patches.
Uh-huh.
That looked really cool. And it was all with cave fabric.
Oh,
so that sounds fun.
Oh yeah.
Marnie says she has a hexagon blanket for her daughter from 1997. She's gotten to September and ran out of steam, and her daughter might be 30 by the time she finishes it. We've all been there and felt that.
I don't know what you can see there, but this is up to date, and she's also in Texas. I think she's more by Dallas. But see, she's really got a lot of the yellows and golds and stuff in that temperature. But let me see if I can blow it up so you can actually see.
I feel like I wouldn't want a temperature quilt. I'd want like a mood quilt. Like what I was feeling, and like maybe a few pieces of whatever fabric I'm working on, like little scraps of the fabric I'm working on.
That's such a good idea. Oh my gosh, a mood quilt.
You'd have to like keep track of your mood every day though, because if you will
Yeah,
get
well,
behind.
you know, you would notice when it wasn't good because it would be like a side job.
Yeah.
So that's a black. We're going to use black fabric today.
Was black for badminton, red for angry.
Yeah. Blue and orange for happy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we got it.
I feel like the reference to Inside Out is like totally there.
Oh, you're right. It totally is.
We've been talking about Inside Out for like 2 weeks.
I need to watch that movie.
You've never
But in
watched
reality, I haven't watched a new one. In reality, I will not see it until it's on some streaming service that I already paid for. Like that's just my life.
You know.
All right, so I have 2 finishes for tonight. So my grandkids back 5 years ago, right, started jelly roll race quilts, but it was just 20 strips. And they had done part of it, and it's like they didn't finish those. Like, okay, I'm going to finish those and get them out of the way. So there's one. That's Ruby's. Here's Benicio's. It's all batiks.
Oh,
those are beautiful.
I like that.
Very cool.
Oh, wow.
That's moody.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's my bad mood day.
I actually like his better than hers, but hers has got all these bright colors in it.
Very cool.
So, all right. So those are done now. They just need to be quilted and given to them. And I had forgotten that I had just used I think it was Joanne's little jelly roll that were like 20 strips. And I wasn't thinking about that, but they didn't even they couldn't even get that done. They did 2 full seams, and then they were starting on the 3rd long seam. Both of them were kind of in the same place, and they just lost interest. So it's like, I'm going to finish that.
Guarantee my child would have lost interest before that.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're just drawing straight seams. They don't see the picture. Yeah, it's just not it's just not enough interest. They're too young. I could have reintroduced
a jelly roll race.
You just take one of your strips first and just cut it randomly somewhere, right? Then you just sew them all end to end, all of them. And then when you get to the end, you cut that in half, and then you sew those together, and then you cut those in half, and you just keep doing that till you get, the length and width you want. That's it. I did the first one that I did. I actually inserted, instead of sewed them like end to end, like just a straight seam. I inserted like an 8-inch piece of white, and I sewed them on the die, like you would for bias binding, for your binding. So it was at an angle, and that turned out really cute. I'm trying to think if it was Jordan.
I don't think my brain's functioning right now.
It is late.
That's okay.
It's late. You don't have to be functioning on all cylinders at the moment.
Yeah, maybe like half a cylinder.
I'm wondering if I can actually finish my green stars, because then I would have finished a whole round of purple stars and green stars, and I'm almost done with my stars, which would be fantastic. I feel very accomplished.
I want to go to bed. I think I'm going to go, guys.
That's all
I had to go upstairs and get something for my headache that had decided to start on me. So,
that's
good times. Good times.
It happens.
But I think I've lost interest in what I'm doing. And my dog is sitting out there in a pile of blankets. And I have to admit, I want to be in the pile of blankets too.
It's all good. I understand. Chantel's couch is very comfy. I slept on it.
Yeah.
You guys didn't even talk about your sleepover.
Oh yeah, we did.
We babysat mostly.
We did. It was all good.
It's funny because Whitney had our kids there, so
Yeah, well, my older one was with us, and so we made a treat that was really fun, and
I learned about
the American
butter.
Girl. You did. You learned what that was. Creaming butter and sugar together. Mm-hmm. And eventually, at like 10 o'clock, we got to actually just hang out, just the two of us. But it took a while to get to that point. But
it did. And then finally, we just look at each other and we're like,
we're tired.
I'm done. We're done.
So you guys didn't work on any projects?
No,
Oh,
I was too tired to do anything by that point.
Aw.
We did sew. We did a little bit of
well,
hand
we
sewing in the
swam
morning.
earlier.
We did that.
So did I show y'all my mystery quilt? I took a little class this week. So
Oh, that's fun.
I have 4 sections left. We didn't get the pattern until like after lunch. They told us, okay, you need to bring this, this, and this. And there was 3 different sizes. You could do a baby, a lap, or a twin, which I like the bigger ones, but it's called the Iris quilt. Really cute. But you
saw
just
that
That is
pattern
cute.
not that long ago, and I've been
you just
kind of eyeballing
sew
it 'cause it's good for big stuff.
Yeah, you just sew a bunch of strips together and then you cut them into certain sections. But like you make a thing with two strips sewn together and you make like 7 of those, and then you make however many of 5 strips. So like this one is a 5 strips, and then it was cut for, for that. And then you have
Yeah.
7 strips she sewed together, and then 9 strips she sewed together. So I have 4 strip sets of 9 that I got to sew together and cut them, and I'm ready to put it together. So I'm excited. So I'm
Nice.
almost done. But yeah, it was fun. It was just really strange trying to pick fabrics for something I had no idea what I was making, right?
Yeah, that would be
That's
challenging.
actually-
Did they give you like color value at least?
Here was the thing that they sent. So it said so like for me, for the twin, right? It said focus fabric, 72 2.5 inch by width of fabric strips, or 2 jelly rolls, or 21 fat quarters. And it says sashing, 3 3/4 yards of sashing, 7/8 yard of backing or background, and then backing was 6 yards and binding, blah, blah, blah. And it said, see note when you go to the sashing. And it said, when the sashing is lighter and the background darker than any of the focus fabrics, it has a very different look than when sashing is darker and the background is lighter. So, yeah, you can see that here, right? You can kind of see, okay, the white is the sashing, right, in this particular pattern, but I didn't have the pattern. And so I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, I ended up, I had a whole bunch of big variety, and then there was some light fabrics and stuff. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a darker sashing. So this is my sashing for it. It's like a navy or a royal blue type, but that's my sashing. But then these are my fabrics. Like, here's a thing of 2, so it'll go. It's going to be cute. And I'm thinking, I'm going to want to make this again, right? Like this is super easy and quick, and yeah, but I'll have to figure it out to make it, because I like my quilts to fit on a bed, like at least a full-size bed. So I would probably use maybe
I'm the
3 jelly.
opposite. I like my quilts to be like cuddleable and foldable for a sofa. I don't think I have anything that I've made in our house that's bigger than a twin.
Oh no, I like king size. Mine are like 104, 108 by 108. Yeah, I love that. I want them to go on a bed, because that's what I do. I just rotate them on the beds, so I can see them. I'm not making them for somebody. I buy stuff that I like, that, But yeah, everybody has their own thing they want to do, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they do.
Well, I'm gonna go, guys. I'm like, you probably
You're
see it in
beat.
my face. I'm exhausted.
Good
It's all
night.
good.
I'll
night,
see y'all
Chantal.
later.
Night.
Goodbye,
See you next week.
friends. See you next week.
Okay.
Well, if you want to hop on, if you've got Wi-Fi where you're going, and have your retreat in the background, you are more than welcome next week.
Oh yeah, can do that.
That could be fun.
I could invite y'all to my little group that's on Wednesday. We do it from like well, I don't know if we're going to do it 12 to 4, but that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if y'all wanted to come and sew with my 4 friends.
We shall see. Normally, I'd like try to keep to, and even though I don't have to, like I work for myself, I can work when I want. I try to keep to an actual work week.
Well, you have to, especially
It helps
when you're
my brain.
Well, I don't know, like, yeah, I've quilted, for people. I have a long arm, but still it's like you have to be disciplined, right? In order to do that. If you're not, I wouldn't get anything done. I don't think. I think I would be trying to do laundry or dishes or take the dog out. You know what I mean? I think I would get distracted real easy and not be working.
Well, I understand that.
Be working. But yeah.
I definitely get that because it's just too easy. Sometimes I'll just like go to a coffee shop. Like if I have editing to do, I'll just go to a coffee shop because then I know that I will be focused because there's nothing that's gonna pull my attention away.
Right.
But
like go lock yourself somewhere, right? You got to lock yourself
basically.
in somewhere where you don't have distraction. That's my problem. I'm too easily distracted. Like squirrel, and away I go.
I do work well at home. Like whenever I would be on deadline, one of my hand sewing, I'm working on my Tula Nova right now. So I did my center years and years ago.
Ooh, that's pretty.
It is very pretty. And then this is like the first round of stars. They all have going around it. There's a star and then a piece next to it. And I'm gonna have to plug in or my battery's gonna die apparently on my computer. And then there are additional stars. So for each one that's in that first one, there's 2 additional that other pieces get attached to. So I'm working on those. And then there's these larger pieces. And so I've been working on like fussy cutting.
You've got a lot done though.
I mean, I've been working on it for years, on and off, but more on because I wanted to bring it with. Chantel and I both have been working on ours. She's kind of figuring it out as she goes, and I'm like doing it exactly like the original because I have all the original fabric.
Right.
And I bought the kit. Then it was like one of the first things that Tula came out with when I first opened my store. And so, but you know, you never get to do the stuff that like you want to do for you when you run a quilting business. So
it's like being a beautician. You don't want to fix your own hair, right?
Well, I think you have to, or people don't trust you with their hair. But yeah,
I don't think that's true. I've never seen so many beauticians that it's like they don't have time for themselves. It's like they don't fix their hair, right? But,
oh, my salon, everybody is like I feel like I have to be dressed up and I have to have done my hair.
Me too.
They're probably good. They're probably very good.
They are very good. But anyway, so I'm working on that. I'm almost done with my center stars. I've got 3 colors left after I finish this one. And then I've got to finish up these guys, which I had to rebuy some fabric because I cut wrong one night when we were on here. I did the wrong size, like center hexagon. So then I had to try to locate very difficult to find rare fabric and pay way more than it was worth originally to get it.
Which one were you did you cut wrong, Stephanie? I never saw that.
I don't even remember.
You cutting it wrong. I just don't remember which fabric it was.
I don't remember either. I have some ones in here that I need to get. Or like some of them, like, you know, it was basically like you can get it with about a fat quarter, and some of them you needed a little more than a fat quarter in order to make it work. But Sylvia's been doing an EPP hexagarden for years. Yeah, that will go for a while. I just started cutting my scraps into like fussy cuttable EPP things.
Yeah.
But I would like to finish this before I like go on a big detour with that. So I need to find some sort of thing I can store them in. Some sort of, I don't know.
Well, maybe like those
it's probably going to be at like a hardware store is where I find something, is my guess.
Well, you know what I did? You know, like you showed that project, I call them project boxes, those iris boxes or whatever I get from, I buy them when they're on sale from Michael's, and I'll buy 10 at a time. And, but you can, what I did is I labeled them. I just put the same name, right? And then I put box 1, box 2, box 3.
Well, like I don't have it. I left it at home. I didn't bring it with me. But like I have it like paired together. Like I got like 5 different enough to do 5 different hexes, like just one with the
Oh, I
6
see.
going
Yeah.
around. And so I want to keep them together as like mementos of the projects I did. Like,
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun. But I need to have a way to keep them like in order so that way when I get to actually doing them, and I would like it to be portable because
Yeah.
then I can like bring it with when I'm running the kids, all over the place. And
Yeah, you
you
can just grab it and
it's
go.
surprising how much stuff you can get done while you're sitting around waiting for your kids.
Oh, true that.
It's
Hey,
so much stuff.
I've actually seen people doing stuff like that sitting at a stoplight. Right?
That I
Like,
would not do.
Stoplight?
yeah. No, at a stoplight.
I
It's
would
like,
not do
oh
that.
my gosh, she's hand sewing something, right? It's like,
It's
But-
funny
no,
because back
it's
when
like
I
she
was
must have been on
young,
some deadline, right?
yeah, back when I was young, the first time that I ever, like, you would think that that would be a no-brainer, right? Oh, yeah, your kids are in gymnastics. You take your stuff and you sit there and you do it while they're
Oh, yeah.
doing their thing, right? The first time I saw that, I was in my young 30s. Zoe was, around 5, 6 years old. And I had taken her to piano lessons. And one of the other moms was sitting there because gymnastics was right across the hall. And she had this really cool basket. It was a wicker basket with all of her yarn and her little crochet pieces and stuff in it. And she was just sitting there crocheting and talking to all the other moms like nothing. And that was the first time I had ever, like, it registered, hey, you should get something and do something instead of just sit here and stare at the wall, because cell phones and Google and the technology we have today 20 years ago is way different, and so she didn't really have that. So it's interesting that you say that you do that just naturally, because for me it never registered. I had to see somebody do that for it to
I
register.
can, while I'm waiting around for my kids at various activities, I can knit a pair of socks for a simple pattern in 2 weeks.
That's crazy. I feel like I would bring all my stuff and spend all my time talking about my stuff and people asking me about my project and not get anything done.
Well, that's why it's got to be a
I've
simple
had
one.
that happen too. Yeah, take your stuff.
If I have to think too hard about what I'm doing, like if I'm following a pattern or something, then I can't do it that fast. But if it's just a simple stockinette, done it before a bunch of times, pattern, 2 weeks, no problem. But Sylvia says she's got something that looks like a plastic fish tackle box that she puts her hexes in to organize them. So I'll have to look into something like that.
Oh, that's cool. That way it has a
But yeah.
handle.
Well, I have a knitting bag that I made. It's just one of the Jessica Vandenberg patterns, so many creations. But I did it in like knitting fabric, so that fits smaller projects in. The tourist tote from Jessica Vandenberg is good for bigger projects. Like I can put like a sweater in progress in those, and that works pretty well. But yeah, I bring stuff with me all the time, because I just don't sit still well easily. I'm
Well, I
not very
do
good
now.
at it.
Yeah, I do now, but I didn't back then when I was young. And so it took me seeing somebody else to do it and went, oh, yeah, I should do that.
I don't think I could read in public though. I wouldn't be able to absorb the information the way I would want to, because I do like gap or like keep an eye on the kids, and like I don't think I could do that, but I can definitely sit there and do like doing this stitch a million times, going around a little whip stitch around, whatever. I can, obviously I've been doing it for 2.5 hours talking to you guys.
Yeah,
But
it becomes kind of like almost like muscle memory.
yeah. With this stuff though, like the reason why I kind of put it down is because I felt like I needed to have it all prepped ahead of time, because I was like fussy cutting everything. Like you're not going to do that on the go. So that's kind of where I'm at there.
So I heard about this kind of sewing. I got to look it up because I can't remember the name of it, but I got this little tote from somebody at retreat, gave it to me, that I put all my stuff in here. But it's I'm trying to find my little piece of paper. You don't measure everything is measured with your hand. So you don't use a tape measure or anything. And you, it's just the width. This is the size of my square, right? Like, hang on, let me see if I can find it. And it makes like a log cabin block. Let me see if I can get this one open. But it's hand-sewn. It's just super cute. So here's one that I did, and it's all done by hand. You take a piece of muslin and you cut it the width from your tip of your pinky to your thumb. So that's how wide, you know, like if I go like that, see, that's how I measured it. But what I did is I actually measured my hand. Like after I did this, it's like, okay, my hand is like 8 inches or whatever it was, right? And then it's called Manx quilting, MANX. So the span of pinky to thumb, that's your foundation fabric. And then the length of the middle finger, that's your center square. Then you cut this, cut strips are the measurement of your thumb. So like mine was like from the knuckle to the end of my thumb was like 2.5 inches. And then that's how you go. And then you iron your muslin. It's kind of like you're making like an 8, like you fold it in half and fold it in half, and then you take, you know, you're making 8 points on it. And then that's how it's done. But you, you just stitch it by hand. And when you go across, so you lay it on a certain line, right? And you start there and you're with your middle square, and you sew, let's say you sew that top edge. But when you lay your next fabric down, you don't tie off there, but you also don't start right there. You bring your needle, when you bring your needle
travel with the needle.
Well, it's like when you bring that needle up, you're not at the end of the strip that you're sewing on, right? You're where you ended that first one at. So it was just a unique thing. But there was a video that showed you all about it, and I thought, I'm a fanatic, right, for log cabin quilts. And then I love, you know, reproduction fabrics. But you can kind of see how it went around the back. I don't know if you can see that stitching or not, but it just
kind of.
So this is actually will be the back of the quilt, right? Like
really?
This, and then it shows you, it's kind of like a
So is it considered like a summer quilt then?
Yeah, or a coverlet or something.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have any batting in it. And then you kind of do kind of like a quilt as you go type thing. When you put them all together, you won't see any of the seams, even with this thing. But so this one is something that, like, everything that I need is in this little bag, right? My little snips, my needles, my thread. And so, yeah, doctor's appointment, or you getting your oil changed at the place or whatever. Yeah, just grab it and go. But it's like, okay, I don't know how big a quilt I'm going to be making because I'm only on my second one.
I did find these little things
they're so cute
at Michael's, and they're great for putting like your hand sewing supplies in. Sometimes these edges will pop off if you have too much junk in your bag.
Right.
So you kind of want to keep it like at the bottom.
I have one like that stacks, but it's three of them, and it's about like this. You know, it's a little bit wider than that one. And I put everything in there, and then I can just grab that whole thing when I go. Like, I sew every week here in my we have a community center, and we sew every Tuesday from 9 to noon. And so I just grab that. It has everything in it, you know, scissors, snips, pins, you know, everything. And
well, that's what I like, because this is my preferred scissor. This is not something I just want to throw loose in a bag. It's going to go through. But I can fit like some threads in here. Like, obviously this one is set up for the project I was doing with my sister, but I'll empty that out now that that's done and put like my little artful spools that match the stuff I'm working on and swap it out.
Yeah. I think that helps, that when you have, like, it's all in one place, right? Even if it's just a little tote bag, right? And then you can put those little containers inside the tote bag. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
There's some things like where I'll get stuck. Like I've been working on a pair of Harry Potter house socks for my daughter. It's just like a check pattern.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like turning the heel. And when I turn the heel, like I really need to do that at home if I can, because it requires a little bit more thought than just going round and round forever and
Mhm.
ever. And so, like, I'm at that stage. I've been at that stage for a while. I need to get past that stage, or they're not going to fit her little foot anymore because it's going to have gotten too big. And so, like, I need to just get that done and then go around it. And like, she asked about them today, and I was like, I could probably finish them in a week if I sat down and finished turning that heel. She was like, but I want them really tall. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. We'll see what we do with this. But she's funny.
You had asked about goals for this week. I don't know what my goals would be for this week. However, this month, I would really, really like to get the stack of burp cloths done for my
Oh,
daughter.
yeah.
Yeah. So when Theron was little,
Are you serging the edges or what are you doing?
I haven't gotten that far, Stephanie.
Do you have a serger? Because if so, just serge everything.
I do have a serger, and I have never used it yet because, learning curve, right?
Yeah,
So
it's intimidating.
It sits there to stare at me and intimidate me from across the room. But when Theron was young, she wanted me to make her a bunch of burp cloths, right? So we went out and we bought all this really neat flannel fabric and stuff. Joann's had some big sale, and I mean it was really nice flannel, and not the real like flimsy cheap stuff. Not that it would matter, it's burp cloths. You use them and then they get stained, you throw them away,
Well,
right?
but then you wipe the baby's face with them, so you don't want them to
Right.
be
So
like
you want them to be
trash.
soft, right?
Yeah.
And so I have all this fabric, and because when he was born, he was sick and he had surgeries and stuff. I was so busy helping her with all the medical stuff that, of course, something had to go off my plate, and sewing, making those were the thing. And so she's asked me about it. She goes, "Do you still have all that fabric?" And I'm like, "I do." She goes, "Do you think that you would make them for the new baby?" And I said, "Well, sure, I would." So I actually have that project that I really need to try to get done by the end of July. It probably won't happen this week, but
If you can serge the edges, and then you don't have to worry about stitching and flipping or anything, and the seams will dry a lot faster because there won't be that extra bulk
yeah,
for like the washing machine.
I would like that.
So I would do that if you can. And then you can just do it like a cutesy little shape too. Like it can be
Yeah.
like
Well,
elongated or whatever.
can't remember who did the tutorial. I want to think it was Karen Brown, but it might have been one of the other gals. She did a tutorial on the burp cloths, and the way she made it, it was unique. It was a different shape than you'd think, oh, burp cloth, no big deal, right? But it like kind of cupped the neck and then
Yeah.
came down. It almost looked like a bean. Like the big picture of it almost looked like
Yeah.
a bean.
That's what
And
I was thinking.
yeah, it kind of like cupped the neck, and it was extra big, so that way it draped, over your shoulder. So that way you really got coverage,
Mhm.
and usefulness out of it, not this little bitty strip type of a thing. So that's what I want to do, is I want to use that pattern. I think I have it bookmarked on my YouTube. I do not remember who did it, but anyhow, I'll figure it out. And that's what I would like to
Get
make
done
sure
this
that
month.
they complete that this month. Yeah. So it's not this week, but this month.
When is the baby due?
August 24th.
You got time.
So what we got, 6 weeks,
Yeah.
7 weeks, something like that. So I think I have time.
I
And
mean, I have
figure-
multiple quilts to make in that time and a bunch of little cutesy little projects. So
I figure if I could get 12 of them
you can
knocked
do it.
out. Yeah. Because with the fabric, it was just like about like a quarter yard of each one, but I have this
Mhm.
whole set. So who knows if she'll have another child? I might as well make it
Might as well do it.
useful. Yeah.
I definitely have had those moments. Like I knit a whole lot when I'm pregnant because like it's a lot of sitting, you're tired. But like I said, I don't sit still well. I need something to do while I'm sitting there. And so I had a blanket that I had started for my older daughter that I finished 5.5 years later for my second child. And that just became her blanket then. So it worked out.
Yeah. Somebody's loving it.
Yes, for sure. Oh, I am gonna finish my stars before midnight. I feel good about that.
Good.
That was another thing. I started a legit kit, which is paper pieced. And we had a class at a different quilt guild that I belonged to, and I wasn't going to do it. And I had bought the eagle pattern a long time ago, not the fabric, just the pattern. But there's so many fabrics, right? And so many, there might be 10 blue, not in that pattern, but there might be, 10 shades of blue. It's like, I am not going to source that. Like, I'm not going to go out shopping for those specific fabrics. So it's like, I wanted to buy the kit, $300 for the fabric.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
How big
okay,
is this quilt?
hang on just a second.
I mean, like you could get a king size quilt out of that.
I have a legit kits pattern. I have not started on it. I had planned to start on it this fall, and I don't know that I'm gonna make that deadline.
So this
You do
one,
have some things happening.
Which one did you get, Donna?
Well, I bought a smaller one. It was something Lily something that I did for that class. But this is the quilt I was talking about that it was going to cost $300 for fabrics. It's 86 different colors and it's 1,661 pieces. Here it is. Here's the quilt.
Oh,
How
eagle?
big is it?
It's an eagle,
It
right?
is 60 by 80. 60
Yeah.
by 80, so it's quite big.
Yeah, but that's not
foundation piece. It's foundation paper piecing, so that does, make it a little bit easier with all the pieces. Because you're gonna have a lot of little pieces, and you're gonna know you're gonna be able to follow the paper.
That's still like a lot.
And they do give you a ton of fabric, right? And if you run out, like if you cut something wrong or you just somehow you don't have it, all you have to do is contact them and they'll send you some more for free. They don't ask you any questions. They don't ask you any questions or anything, but it's like I'm not ready to bite that bullet. $300. It's like, oh my gosh. But I don't want to shop for 86 different colors of fabric either. You know what I mean?
Would understand that.
Even if I know what they are, it's like, okay, because most places you're not going to be able to get like a 10 by 10 piece of fabric, right? You're going to have to buy at least a fat quarter. Maybe it's a place that has to be a half a yard. I just thought I it would probably be better for me to let them pick the fabric.
Yeah.
Let them do it, right, and me pay it. It's just I'm just not ready to do it yet, but that's probably what's going to happen. I can't see myself shopping for 86 different colors of fabric. And like I said, a lot of them, the colors are so similar, right? But they do list it. Like there's a thing in here and it lists, it's all motif fabrics. And you could definitely go and buy your own. I guess I could probably start putting some stuff in a shopping cart and just see what kind of pricing, right? It might not be $300, but I bet it is. I bet it would be more.
How is it like all solids? Like what is it?
Yeah, it's all solid fabrics. It's all the Moda basics or whatever they call them.
The Bella solids.
Kona. It's the Kona.
Yeah, Kona. There you go. Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing. Okay, so this is why I don't buy the kit. I know you said it's because it's expensive and stuff, and that's why you didn't get it. But I do not like Kona solids. I know a lot of people, they don't care and whatever, but I really feel like the Kona solid of, let's say 10 years ago is different than the Kona solid of today. I feel like when they went more mainstream and you could get their stuff in big box stores versus just quilting shops, their quality, I think personally, I think it went down. And
well,
so
into anything, I don't care if it's motor or whatever, for some reason to me, a solid fabric ravels like crazy. So I will starch everything first, right? Because that's going to cut down on the raveling. But yeah, I don't like sewing with them because of that.
Yeah, I don't have experience with a whole lot of solids, so I don't know. But the one brand that I do like in the way of solids is the Bella. And I love the Bella solids. I have several of them.
Art Gallery fabric solids, my favorite.
I haven't tried those. I haven't tried those.
Favorite hands down. It is the same substrate as everything else.
Okay,
because it is actually printed. It wasn't always like that, but the new versions are printed and they have a selvage, so you know what solid it is on the bottom.
Interesting.
Well, I just, this log cabin quilt that I just did, it was all solids, but that was from Love Sew. Hang on a second. What was that from? Where did I get that? But I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't want any hate coming, from anybody, of course. But I just, all of my Kona stuff that I did have, which, like I said, I really don't use a whole lot of solids. So I prefer fabrics that read as solid, that they're a print that read as solid versus a straight solid. So any of the Kona stuff I had, I got rid of. I donated it all.
So this is from, I'm pretty sure it's called Love Sew is the company, but these are called it's called True Fabrics. But it was 1 yard bundles that I bought, and they just had all kinds of, and they're thick, like they're nice, and it's like way cheaper than buying Moda fabric. So if I could find fabrics like this for that, it would be great. But it's like that's not going to happen. 80 something fabrics. I guess I could contact them and say, here's the colors. Send me a yard of each one. Like I think I got five bundles of 20 yard, 5 bundles of 20 different fabrics for, I don't even think it was $200, right? That's 5 times 20, 100. Oh, they're half yard, not yard, half yard cuts. So for
how much do you need for like the different amounts?
I would have to go in here and look at it, but yes, like I said, some of it, it's just a piece, right? And so you could probably, fudge on that and just use something, right? You wouldn't have to have exactly. But I think because of some of the different ones, the shading is so important because it's, 3 shades of brown, right? Or 5 shades of brown, and they're all in a little bitty spot. Let me just look at it really quick and see what the fabric requirements are for them. I like their little sticker they put in there too. Don't panic. Because it is a lot, right? Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
Even with the instructor, it was like the one that I did, it was, what was it? Something Lily that I started on, and I need to get it back out. But it goes through, it shows you all the fabrics. So here they are. Where's my other page? 3, that's 2. Hang on a second. My pages are out of order a little bit. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So here's the way they do it. They show you on a sheet like this, right? With the colors. So there's like 4 sheets to get all those 86 in. And like this sand and parchment and raffia and scone, it's like they look all the same color almost. But anyway, most of them are like, so one is a 1/16 of a yard. One is a 5.5 by 9.
That's why it costs so much, because there's a lot of manpower cutting those.
Right. 4.5 by 5.5. Here's a 5.5 by 9. Here's a quarter yard. Here's an eighth of a yard, a quarter yard, eighth a yard. Yeah. So 3/8 of a yard. Here's another 16th. So they're all, shoot, I can't remember how many. I'm going to look really quick. Like just his eye of this eagle. I'm trying to think how many pieces. It was a lot just for the eye, right? Like probably 30 or 40 different colors in the eye. Crazy. Cray. But yeah, I was ambitious when I bought this kit. And so now I need to decide. Yeah, am I going to go shop and source the fabrics myself, or if I'm just going to bite the bullet and say, okay, put the money back and get it.
You kind of have to weigh like your time, because I feel like
it's money.
Most places are not going to let you cut a 16th of a yard. That's not going to happen. And I guarantee the reason why it's so expensive is not because of the fabric. It's because of the time it takes to prepare it for you.
I don't know. Most of the quilt shops that I've gone to, they will let you go down to an eighth of a yard. So maybe not a 16th, but an eighth, 5 inches, 5 or 6 inches. And I mean, of course, Joann's, they'll let you go all the way down lower than that.
So like
Hobby
2
Lobby
inches.
and stuff. But
my thing is just I'm not
probably wouldn't want to get your fabrics there.
I'm not good at choosing fabrics, and like I said, some of them they're so close in color. It would just be hard if you weren't buying these specific
it all together. You would have to have like a swatch book that you carried with you.
And if you feel like you're not good at choosing fabrics, which I would beg to differ based on what I've seen that you've done, I think that you've done a fantastic job of choosing fabrics for your quilts. But you would also have to consider the labor of love behind that. If you personally feel like that's a challenging step for you, do you want to be putting your effort into that step of choosing fabrics, or would you rather be putting your effort into your sewing and have somebody else choosing those fabrics for you? See, for me, I love choosing my fabrics. I love choosing the colors. And so for me, I don't mind putting my energy into that step because I love that so much. And I also feel like I'm good at it.
Just I didn't learn it. Like when I first started quilting in 2016, like I've made quilts like a long time ago, right? Like, but they weren't like intricate and things like I piece now. But I just didn't learn that step, right? Like so I would buy kits. It's like I would see a quilt. I'd say, I really like that. Well, they've got a kit. It's already there. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just get the kit. And I know there's a lot of people, they'll buy a kit and then they'll pick and choose their own fabrics to add or they want something different for this or that. And so I am really just now like learning to do that. And so
so this could be even though you feel like you're not really experienced at that, or you don't feel like you're good at that, it could be a learning tool as well. You could take the time, put the energy into it, put the effort into that step. Maybe pace yourself, just do it a little bit at a time. Like
collect it over a year. Collect it over a year, and then it wouldn't be a big expense. And
you could focus on the reds and these shades of reds.
What you're going to want to do though is have a swatch book. Like take a tiny
100%
inch of everything and have that be like glued in and what you intend that to be, and then and have like a color printout of like the pieces that need to go in there.
I've got the color printout here already, so you would
have it be like in the swatch book, like a separate one. And maybe
so how many colors did you say it was total?
86.
Okay, so let's say, I mean, of course, you're going to need less of some and more of some, but let's say a quarter of a yard times 86, right? So 86 divided by 4, that would
be
21.5 yards of fabric. So when you equate that, depending on what you were to purchase it, if you were to get it like on sale, when you find things on
Yeah,
sale.
because I usually don't pay full price for fabric. I just
So
don't.
what do you think your sale, what do you think your sale price range is? Around $10?
Or less. Yeah.
Okay,
Depending
so
on
Even at full
some.
price, you're looking at $258.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, so at $10 a yard, you're looking at 200, and $20 at full price, 250, doing it on your own. And that's a quarter of a yard. And a lot of those fabrics, you don't even need a quarter of a yard. You'd only need
Right.
an eighth of a yard. But then some of those fabrics, you would need a half a yard or maybe even 5/8 of a yard.
Right.
So I feel like it would balance itself out in the end. The average would probably be around a quarter of a yard for each fabric that you found. So
Yeah.
you're still
But looking
saving
at it
a
like
little
that,
bit,
like
and
what
then
she's
learning
like,
and tackling something that you feel like you're not good at, and you're getting better at that thing.
yeah, yeah. But looking at that price, like the way you did it, $250, like I might as well pay 300, right, and get the kit, right? It saves
Well,
You
me
could do
from
that.
having to go, right? From having to go to the stores and all the colors are already there. I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about, does this match? Is this a different shade? Is this,
Yeah, if you don't want to put the effort into doing that, for sure, that it
But yeah, I
makes
could see
it-
where it would be a learning process, and it would probably be fun if I decided to do that, like
I
to
agree.
just
Like,
get
I
it.
would
And
tackle it.
matter of fact, right? Like I have a ton of scraps and different things that like I may already have some, right? Of these things that I don't even have to shop. I can just go shopping in my room here.
Exactly.
Y'all should see. So my house is 3 bedrooms. I'm in the master bedroom. I told my husband, I said, when I got my long arm, I said, I have room to put this long arm in the guest bedroom, but I said, the other guest bedroom is where my sewing room was, right? And I said, I'm still going to have that. I said, we're not going to have a guest bedroom anymore. And I said, if you let me put the long arm in the master, which the only time he's even in here was when he would sleep. The only time he used the master bathroom was when he got up at night to go to the bathroom. And then it doesn't have a shower in there. It's got a big jacuzzi tub, right? So he doesn't, he showers in the guest bathroom that's in the hall. And I said, everything in this master bedroom will fit in this other, one of our guest bedrooms. And I said, except for clothes. And I said, you could put your clothes in that new master bedroom. The bathroom isn't any farther than, the one in our master bedroom. And I said, I can put my clothes in the other guest bedroom. And he said, okay. It's like, I flipped out. So now I have my long arm in here. I have my big sewing table, and I have the big master closet is where my fabrics are. But then I also have in my guest bedroom, like in I have my old antique bedroom suit that was my dad's mom's. It's in that guest bedroom. And so there's 2 big chests. So there's a big tall chest. Then there's a shorter chest that's like a dresser. It just doesn't have a mirror. And then there's a mirrored dresser, right? All of those drawers are filled with my fabrics, right? Then I have another chest in the landing here upstairs it's a big 3 drawer. It's an antique one too. And it's full of, like, that's where my scrap fabrics are at, right? So I have,
I think you need to go shopping in your own stash.
Yeah, I think I could go.
I think you'll find good things in your stash if you shop from your stash. You could be like, even if you only think about that, even if you only did a third of those fabrics and you cut down that price by a third, that brings you down to between $120 and $150. It is worth it for sure.
And I could make it like a game too, like a scavenger hunt. Okay, today I'm going to look for these 3 fabrics. And
turn
maybe
everything into a game. That was what my husband's final advice to my son-in-law was.
Maybe then I could also organize a little bit too, while I was
absolutely
doing that.
could get your colors together.
If I didn't fall down in a rabbit hole, right? Because sometimes stuff like that ends up to be in a rabbit hole. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. And then you get distracted, right? Like, I'm telling you, I do get distracted. So that might, but that's something to think about. Maybe I'll just leave this out, let that simmer a bit. Yeah.
And shop your stash when you're back from your retreat.
Because I know I have a lot. And like I said, even with these, like these colors here, there's some, I could use this yellow, for sure. This yellow, this orange, these reds. Yeah.
Well, and you could use blenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to be solids even. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just need to read like one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
All right. We are
All right. I think you convinced
beyond
me.
midnight. So I think we're going to call it quits. And I'm going to
Yeah,
go
I need to
cut out
I need
about 30 seconds, about an hour in. And then we're all good to go.
So
Well,
you
I
have to
got my-
republish, right? It doesn't get to be
I just have to go in. I should be able to edit out, just cut out that entire section.
Oh, good.
So it should be fine. If not, then I'll have to take it down and redo it from the Zoom recording, but it'll be fine. There's multiple ways to get around that. But
Yeah, I actually got my 4 sets of 9 strips, got them laid out. So now I just have to sew those together and cut them, and that quilt will be ready to go together. So
I
I'm
did
glad.
my
I had a productive
purples
night. Oh, look at those! So
Look at
pretty.
you.
and my greens. So I'm doing pretty good. There's some
Yay.
that have stuff with it and some that don't
I
yet,
did
and
come
got more
up
things.
with something that I can finish this week by next week.
We don't have to finish. Just
No,
work, make
but
some progress.
This collage, the tulip block,
Mhm.
that is my goal this week, to have that finished by next week.
There you go. That's a good
This
goal.
block. Because I mean, I've been working on the tulips all week. It takes time, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm being meticulous and very precise about it and stuff. So yeah,
Well, I
so
have
that'll
a
be my
horse
goal.
that I'm doing. I have a horse
There's
that I'm doing that's a collage, and it's like
Ralph
it's kind of in my head.
Ralph on YouTube says, "You cannot leave. I'm still interested in this woman cave." We can hear more about it later. Donna is a regular, so make sure you come back and she can answer all her questions.
And what was the question? What was it they talking about?
They said in all
The-
caps,
your
"No, you
fabric
cannot
steps."
leave. I'm still interested in this woman cave."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh well, maybe I can do you a little tour next time or something.
Donna's a
Just a
regular,
quick
so she'll be back.
All right.
Okay.
Talk to you
Donna,
later.
good
Have
luck
a
on
good
your
night.
retreat. Have fun
Yes.
and travel safe.
Oh yeah, and if you want, I will. I'll maybe introduce y'all to my group.
That would be
just for a
fun.
minute or something. All right. Talk to y'all later. Have a good
All right,
night.
bye.